right. And we are live. The last word. LordCognito, Ebontis, Tie Guy Travis, fresh on that Thursday evening campfire. We're back, boys. The cheetah. How are we doing, sir?
Doing pretty good. Getting back into running a little bit more lately after my crazy years. So trying to actually get back outside and get to doing that because I had my ladder fall at the start of the year. I've had some like heel pain and stuff, and just trying to work things out. And between
Ladderfall is the least interesting James Bond movie.
It sounds like a game.
It does sound like something. Yeah. And yeah, so we did our show last week, just Travis and I, right before the Game Awards. So we got to talk about Season of the Wish. So we'll hear about you. Yes, I've been playing Lego games. Didn't expect that coming. But actually having fun doing it. And then, yeah, so just kind of getting into the final couple weeks of the year. And I'm more curious what you gents have to say, because I kind of have like a cold and I'm a bit stuffed up. So I'm going to keep my sinus voice minimal this week.
So Trav, man, what you been up to? What's been going on?
I like Ebontis' sinus voice. He sounds more like me, more nasally and nerdy. Nice.
That's my whole life, man.
Nice.
So
that's good. What's going on with me? I just finished maybe 7 minutes ago my final review for 2023. So, which was my third VR game review for the year. Resident Evil 4. Resident Evil 4 Remake VR mode, which was cool. So yeah, I've got one more preview. I'm covering Skull and Bones again.
I actually I'll be playing that tomorrow too.
Oh really? You're gonna be on the cool. Yeah, we should play together.
Yeah. Nice.
I think I'm on Xbox this time. I did the preview for PC last time around, but
I did PC just out of default. So
for whatever reason, they wanted me on a console this time. So gonna check that out. Yeah, it's been a crazy year. 26 reviews.
Woo!
Probably even more previews than that. I don't even know. Yeah, I got at least one game in every score bracket on a rubric except for one.
Wow.
I didn't give any 1, but I gave 2 through 10. I gave my first 10 earlier today.
So you hit the rubric every single one except that's insane.
And I actually saw that IGN gave their first one in a decade for an obvious reason, but that was funny too.
Yeah, IGN gave its first one in a decade. And last year that was also true, Cog. Last year I reviewed 25 games and I got 1 in every number on the rubric except for 10 and 1. I had never given a 1 before today. Or never given a 10 before today. And I've still never given a 1. So look out, y'all. Look out, Drift Legends 2. You don't know what's gonna happen. So yeah.
No doubt. Yeah, man. For me, it's just been
how you been, buddy?
I've been good, man. I mean, I'm actually thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
Looking hot, honestly.
I try.
How am I supposed to focus on the podcast?
You're ridiculous. Black don't crack, baby. We just get old. We try to maintain. But what I'm trying to say.
I'm trying to crack that.
You're ridiculous. So as I was saying, I've been actually battling the cold that I think E is going through now. I'm just starting it. So I'm like, something's going around, but whatever. But as far as games are concerned, shout out to King. He put me onto this little turn-based game I never knew about. It's called King Arthur: A Knight's Tale. Apparently it's like a huge PC game that's now coming over to ID at Xbox, and turn-based. It's like this turn on the King Arthur story where they die and then you kind of have to rebuild the Knights of the Round Table, and it's like fully voice acted, kind of AA energy, but really good. I was really enjoying it. I've been playing that. Obviously playing a lot of Destiny recently. Still got to do the damn dungeon, but I've been playing a lot of Dawning, caught up on all the story, all that good stuff, and we'll talk about that later. And then what was the other thing? Demos. Tekken 8 joint is out. Woo! Man, Namco's pulling out all the stops, bro. I think the feedback is heard. Mortal Kombat has lapped them so hard in like story and narrative, and to see them kind of go all out this way is really, really impressive. Oh, Austin, yes. Oh, I have a lot to talk about the Dragon's Breath. Thank you for mentioning that, Austin. Oh, you got a lot to say about
I'll eat my words. Yeah, it's way better than I thought it was going to be. I totally, yeah. Absolutely.
Love you though. Appreciate you, my man. I will say this in defense of you guys, heavy Solo 3.0 specific though. You can still use it well without it, but if you 3.0 and you solar, you build around it, man, I love it now. It's basically lasting impression, right? It's like lasting impression, and then when you get the catalyst to take damage, we'll get into that. We'll get into that. As far as the other games that I've been playing, a lot of the Infinite Wealth demo. Now that you finish Like a Dragon Gaiden, and yo Trav, we back, baby, we back. It is so funny and hilarious. I'm like, this could be my game of the year if y'all keep this up. Like, Hawaii, them in Hawaii is the perfect, most ridiculous setting ever. Then, like, there's this one, I just gotta spoil this one part. There's a part where, like, you know how they have the bonding with your crew? So you got the bond, and they're like, hey, you want to do some trolley rides in Hawaii? Why they got a dude in this old man with a camera, and you're like, hey, what are you doing? I'm from Yokohama, whatever. I'm visiting Hawaii. And he lets you see his picture. Why in his thing, he got lewd photos of all these buff, unscantily clad men in his phone. So you're like, yo, bro, you freak. What do you do? Why do you have all this stuff in your camera? So what ends up happening is it's a mini game where you on a trolley, and he said, you got to catch all the sickos. They're doing all type of stuff. And I work with the police, and it goes, bro, it's a mini game of you snapping photos on a trolley, catching people doing lewd acts. I'm like, what is going on? Sorry for your monetization, E. I'm sorry. But what is going on with this game? You got that. You got the turn-based. Kiryu kind of plays in a traditional style in the turn-based. It's great. One of your party members is an Uber driver.
Man without a name in order to get access to this?
Yes. Perfect marketing.
Oh, my God.
Perfect marketing.
Wow, they really got you because you don't play those games. You need the dubs, right?
Yeah. So what it is Gaiden, even though I feel the fighting style of that beat 'em up is a little antiquated, I will say the agent style that they've give Kiryu is super dope. He's got some James Bond stuff. He's got this lasso rope. He's got this like these shoes that got jet wings on them, and he bumps into enemies. And I will say the ending is probably one of the more emotional. You'll tear up, but like he been through some stuff. I've stopped my beef with Kiryu. Ichiban is my guy. But Kiryu, you got my
honestly,
respect.
Even the ending of Like a Dragon was pretty emotional at the end there.
Really? Yeah.
So yeah, I think they're really good at doing those stories. I was sort of waiting on Gaiden for the dubbed version just because I have nothing wrong with the Japanese performances, but it gets exhausting to read all the dialogue for when you're playing a game for 50 hours. It's different if you're watching like a movie, But if you're playing a game, it's like eventually you're going to look away and you're going to miss something, and it kind of all just bleeds together. So yeah, I even if the voice acting's bad, I'll just
I will say this to your point, 100% agree. Bless you. The actor voice. The reason why I have to, because I played Like a Dragon with the English dub with Ichiban, and I think he's amazing. Now to the Kiryu controversy, I know some people don't have issues with Young Ye's voice, but I will say in the latest trailer that they have for Infinite Wealth, I noticed an improvement. I don't hear like Young Ye, so to speak. So I have to play the English dub because I'm with you. I can't just read text all day. It'll put me to sleep. So yeah, I'm with you. I did. And so far, by playing in the English dub, it's been great. So yeah, a lot of Like a Dragon.
Especially, it's especially distracting in the action game version because you can't stop to read it. So if anybody's talking during an action sequence, you just miss it. It just like flies by on the bottom of the screen. So yeah, like I played a few of the old school ones like Zero and stuff, and I only got through a couple of them because after a while I was just like, dude, I just can't. I need dubs.
Have you ever watched?
Please localize your game.
Have you ever like I've had subtitles on for random stuff that we've watched here and there, but have you ever watched stand-up comedy with subtitles? It kills the jokes. It's a bad idea because it's all about timing and delivery. And if you're like reading whatever's on screen, they haven't delivered the second half of the line, but you read what's there and you like spoil the jokes half the time. So
that's not even just true about comedy. Have you ever had a twist spoiled for you by a subtitle in a drama?
Not
or like
specifically that one. It doesn't happen often for us, but it was just like left them on and we're like, yeah, just leave it there. And then all of a sudden I'm watching comedy. I'm like, I'm getting half of this like ahead of the time. It's weird. Yeah. It's one of those things you don't think about until it happens. It's odd.
Yeah, that sounds terrible. But yeah, that's been pretty much it. And then probably gonna start my Baldur's Gate playthrough finally. And
that's big boy.
Guess what? I had adventures in setting up crossplay. That was an adventure.
I hear their crossplay is pretty bad.
Yeah, it's it, bro. You gotta. When I logged up the Xbox version, I logged into my Larian account. It wasn't there, so I'm like, okay, go back to my Steam version, and then you have to go into your option. No, first you got to go to Larian, set it up, then go into the game in the Steam version, log into your Larian account, go into the options in the game, turn on cross save because it's not turned on by default, and then from there it says like syncing to the server. So I'm like, all right, cool. So I'm figuring I'll go back to the Xbox version. It'll be there. Still says new game. I'm like, where's my dwarf warrior monk? Where's he at? What's going on? So you have to then go back into the options and on the console and then turn on cross save again and then wait for the sync. So it's just these extra little convoluted steps. But other than that, it works. But I'm looking forward to getting into it. I got to get part of the conversation.
The dwarf warrior monk. That sounds about right.
Yeah, dwarf warrior monk. He's showing. Oh, he beefy.
You got your shinobi. You got the beefy. Yeah, that's about right.
Hand to hand. He's got a little staff thing. And bro, it's so. It reminds me of classic BioWare. It's so good, so good. Like I'm loving it so far. So just starting.
Yeah, that's a game that I would love to play through. I just don't know when I'm going to have the time to do it. But it just seems so cool. All the different things. Factions just got canceled. Yeah,
is that true?
It's on Twitter. Yeah. They put something out about massive.
Wait, Naughty Dog canceled Factions for real?
Here, it's right here.
Oh yeah,
yep.
They canceled a while ago.
No,
seems a little official now. An update on The Last of Us Online. We realize many of you have been anticipating news around the project that we've been calling The Last of Us Online. There's no easy way to say this. We made the incredible, difficult decision to stop development of that game. We know this news will be tough for many, especially our dedicated Last of Us Factions community who've been following our multiplayer editions ardently. We're equally crushed at the studios. We're looking forward to putting it in your hands, but we wanted to share with you some background how we came to this decision. The multiplayer team has been in pre-production with this game since we were working on The Last of Us Part 2. Crafting experience we felt was unique and had tremendous potential. As the multiplayer team iterated on the concept for Last of Us Online during this time, their vision crystallized. The gameplay got more refined and satisfying, and we were enthusiastic about the direction we were headed. And then Bungie stepped in. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I thought that was an important.
Sorry,
you stupid.
We love you, Bungie, but I'm just speculation. Who knows? Yeah, you did.
That was goody. I'm not used to that from you.
In ramping up to full production, the massive scope of our ambition became clear: to release and support Last of Us Online. I think what you need to put in big, bold 100-point font is support, because you could release it, but support's the hard part. We'd have to put all our studio resources behind supporting post-launch content for years to come, severely impacting development on future single-player games. So we had two paths in front of us: become a solely live service game studio, or continue to focus on single-player narrative games that have defined Naughty Dog's heritage. We're immensely proud of everyone at the studio that touched this project. The learnings and investments in technology from this game will carry into how we develop our projects, and that's kind of wraps it up. I mean, they're not wrong. We know it takes a whole lot of work to support a live game, and if they're not built for that, and if it's going to be a sacrifice to the studio, that's a choice they can make, I guess. But is that a point where would you guys like to see another studio take the reins on something like that? Because it doesn't feel like it could stay within Naughty Dog. From what it sounds like,
I mean, this is one of those projects that, when it died, my first thought was, okay. You know what I mean? Like, what are we really losing here? Naughty Dog doesn't make multiplayer games. All of their multiplayer modes have been bad. You guys play the Uncharted multiplayer? Pretty bad.
Some people had fun with. I think really it was Factions or Uncharted. Like, I know some people enjoyed it.
Had a cult following. Yeah, had a cult following.
The people who liked that were because they were on PlayStation and they had never played a good multiplayer game.
All right, you ain't had to go that hard, but you're right.
No, I mean, it's true. PlayStation just didn't have any good multiplayer games back then.
True.
Now they do, but back then, like, they barely had an online.
Yeah, the online was very bad.
I think the potential with the right studio, though, having Last of Us, having post-apocalyptic.
Why? What is unique about the Last of Us setting that makes it good?
I never said it's like unique, but I think if like the right studio could take the time to do a polished version of that, it could be kind of a cool survival. Maybe
kill it. Nah. What? Like why? Like. If you think about it tonally, does it make sense for there to even be a multiplayer mode in that universe?
I think for
Does
me,
it
it's
enhance
again.
the
I'll finish. I'm
narrative?
sorry. Mhm.
No, I just have a lot of questions about like what the purpose of that would be because if it's a pretty generic um, post-apocalyptic setting, then you could just make another setting specifically for whatever it was you're trying to build. And if you're
Mhm.
trying to make it Last of Us for a specific reason, what is that reason? Is it because you want to involve the characters or further tell the story? I really
Mhm.
doubt it. Doesn't sound
Mhm.
like something you'd be able to pull off in multiplayer. So then what is the point? My theory is
Mhm.
they were literally just using the IP because it is a very well-known IP and they know it would sell. It's really all it comes down to. And I don't
Mhm.
think that's a good enough reason. I
Yeah, I
mean,
mean,
it's
I think
good for the business
I
side,
was
but
like,
I don't think
G-Man kind of said he's like a grungier. I'm picturing like Colorado mountains, kind of more realistic Division crossed with something like the forest. And I don't know if you could even put those two together. If there's any survival versus like the open natural area. I don't know. It's just like in my head, I would be curious. In an alternate universe, I'd like to peek what that game looks like if it ever got to see the light of day. Because they said they thought they kind of had something there, but they just didn't have the ability to convert into a live service studio and support it and give up their passion of making, well, movie games, basically, which is probably what Neil Druckmann wants to do. And if that's his choice, that's fine. They make great games too. It's more just a curiosity to see what it was because there was enough time put into it. I'm curious what it looked like. That's more me.
yeah, yeah. To me, it's more like because the first one. I guess my thing is they had an attempt with the first one that had a cult following. And it was solid. It wasn't nothing crazy. But I think it was more like, okay, let's see what they could do if they put actual time into the mode, invest into the mode.
Yep.
And for me personally, I just got to be honest. Like, I don't like how I always give criticism to Xbox with hashtag just one. I want more. At least you to make one of your own new IP cinematic style games. My pressure on Sony has always been, where is your multiplayer from the ground up? Because I've known them to have SOCOMs and Resistances. I mean, not saying that they were amazing franchises, but they at least made the attempt in the space. And I just feel they're starting to get too one-dimensional. So for me, I was just like, man, like I would have loved to see what that vision was. And remember, we had the concept art
Yeah.
initially from this, and I'm like, all right, let's see what they're going. Clearly, to Travis's point, which I agree, we know they're going to cash in on the popularity of this franchise, right? But it was just, what could it be? So to see it canceled is like, man, like I'm just worried that Sony's going to get into this redundant area of only this style of game we make and nothing else. You know what I'm saying? And and obviously we know the Bungie tie here, and what the reporting came out in reference to how they didn't feel there was enough stickiness for live service. May have been solid, but nothing that they would say could create consistent engagement. So
I mean,
I'm a little sad as a
yeah.
multiplayer game. I'm just sad because I just want
I
them to be in that space. I don't want them to be one dimensional. That's just me.
I kind of toyed around with it was Uncharted or Last of Us. One of their relatively more recent multiplayers, they had like a grappling hook and kind of like swing it around a little bit. It's just different environments, I guess, that I would be curious, and then how they could handle just more, whether it's you got trees and forest and a partial city and kind of just being able to explore so much of it. I would be curious how deep it would go, but I think the problem is also it's a rabbit hole. It's like, hey, do you have a shelter or do you have a base? And then you can go explore. How big is this thing? How much do you support it? I think the rabbit hole would probably never stop at all for them if they went down that, which, as they said, would be full live service, Last of Us Online Studio. And then that's what they would be. And then you'd miss out on. See, that's the thing I think I want out of them too. We've seen
development time.
But it was like, we've seen, whether they do a Last of Us 3, which they don't need to. They don't need that. But if they do like a new IP, I'd love to see them just tell a brand new story. Because I mean, Last of Us 1, Uncharted, those have been very cool experiences. I would just be curious to go along the journey of a new story. New IP, new story. If probably going to do a Last of Us 3 to cash in on it, but I'd love to see a new story instead, personally.
And that's my point, because this is what I'm trying to get to Travis, because it's like they're getting into this squeezing blood out the stone of what they know is popular. You know what I mean? Like, I just do different, man. I miss when this is what me and Colin agree. There's parts of PS3 when they were the underdog that I missed, or they would have like quirky, different type of experiences. Even PS1, like I just felt they took more chances. It's like they've got the hashtag just one model. They know it does well, and it's like stick to that and nothing else, and keep making it and remake the remake and remake. And
well, that was why I loved Returnal when I played it. That was outside of it. Yeah, it was refreshing. I mean, yeah, it was third person, but I mean, third person roguelike bullet hell with fantastic graphics and a story that was kind of trippy too when you played all the way through it. Like Returnal was a really, really good game. I never played it on PC, but even on PS5, it was a blast. Those are the type of ones, yeah, as you said, when they're outside of their box is kind of nice. So anyway, breaking news and
breaking news.
May as well discuss. On a more positive note, Travis, would you like to tell us about your first 10 out of 10 video game?
Yes, I would.
Let's do it.
I love to talk to you about it. So
I'm ready to listen to it.
If you couldn't tell by I don't know if you guys can see this on camera, but my hair is actually overcoming a slump.
VR helmet bump.
It's a VR helmet slump, and
that's the headphone bump.
Away for like
the headphone bump.
I'm not Caucasian, brothers. I don't have that problem.
Yeah, you don't have hair, bro. Let's not act like this is. I
don't really have
act like. Come on, bro. I'll give you black don't crack, but let's not go. Let's not pretend like you got a full head of hair, bro.
He's over there like, yeah. Cog doesn't get to use the bad hair day excuse ever.
Yeah, for sure.
Me and my VR hair. Continue.
No, but the reason my hair is like creased, I haven't been able to get this crease out of it in a couple days because I spent more than 90 hours in VR in about 10 days. So I played quite a bit.
It's 9 hours a day, man.
Well, that's 9 hours a day on average. The 10 days I actually spent like 3 hours of a couple of those first days, and then I like spent 16 later on. I was like, man, I'm behind. I'm only in the second character.
I mean, did you hook up like a catheter, a colostomy bag, anything else I can say, just so you get to live in that world?
No, I did do something that even the people at Meta thought was crazy, which was they were like, how are you playing this game so long? Because the Meta Quest only lasts like 4 hours of battery life. And I said, I have 2 Meta Quest 3s. And so I charge one while I'm playing on the other, and then I sync my cloud save and I hot swap it and I keep playing. And they were like, that's crazy. And first of all, when I told them that, their team didn't believe that worked, because their team was like, no, that doesn't work because the saves are based on the headset. And I said, yeah, they are based on the headset, but you can go to Cloud Restore and then you can select the different headset. And so you just restore one save on a different headset and then you pick up and play it. And the meta team was like, that's genius. Like we should do that. Like, that's a good idea. I was like, no, you should have a better cloud system so that I don't have to do this.
Yeah,
that's the real answer.
That would be better.
And Cog, I think you're muted, but you look very animated.
Yeah, I had to mute myself just then.
Okay.
Thank you.
But yeah, this game, Asgard's Wrath 2, I talked about a little bit last week when I was able to talk about the first 15 hours, but it is a massive open world RPG made by the people at Sanzaru Games, makers of Sly Cooper, Thieves in Time, and the previous Asgard's Wrath game, which is quite good. Yes. They're a super talented team. I really like the original Asgard's Wrath, but it comes from a different era of VR, where VR was very new and it was also tethered to gaming PCs, and it was a super, super niche genre back then. And so basically, but that game does have a 88 on Metacritic, I think, and it's got a IGN gave it a 9.4 back because it was a while ago, back when we were still on the 100-point scale. So that game is still very good. I actually played it just before I started Asgard's Wrath 2, just to refresh my memory, because I played it back then, but it was so long ago. I replayed that game. And Asgard's Wrath 2 is a masterpiece, which is why I give it 10 out of 10. It basically addresses all of the questions of like, what would a open world RPG with all the trimmings be like in VR? And I'm talking all the trimmings. I'm not talking like a pared down VR version of an RPG. I'm talking skill trees, companions, social links, open world areas, multiple storylines, a roguelite dungeon crawling mode thrown in just for fun that you can do optionally, giant monster hunts where you can go and hunt different beasts throughout the land, puzzles, just like literally think of everything that you would want in mounts. There's mounts you can ride around.
God, that's crazy.
Like all of your companions have a humanoid form, and then you can also turn them into their mount form. And like one will be like a panther warrior, and then she will turn into a giant four-legged.
Oh, so I can make E a cheetah, and I can ride the.
That's right. You can get a cheetah mod.
Remember that joke? Yeah, I got so mad. That's an old joke. That's an old joke. No. That's an old Flashpoint joke. Continue.
But yeah, it has just all of the stuff that you'd want to do, and you'd think, okay, well, on a completely wireless device like the MetaQuest 3, it's probably going to run terribly and not be very good. And it's really quite the opposite. Everything that it tries, it does super well. The combat is just awesome. I played it on the hardest difficulty the entire time, and like you will get your butt kicked by these lizard warriors, and then have to get good and learn different. And it has so many good ideas. Like you play 4 different characters. So the idea is that you are a god who possesses mortals and helps them fulfill their destinies. And so throughout the game, you play 4 different mortals. And at first, it starts out pretty normally, like you're playing a sword and shield, like Egyptian warrior. And he's got some cool tricks, like his sword can turn into a whip so that he can whip himself onto objects and fly across gaps and stuff. And then he can throw his axe. He can throw his axe and then like stop it in midair and change its direction, or like use it to pull down levers and stuff at a distance. So it's got some cool things like that. But then all of a sudden you get into the second act where you play as a water naiad, a river naiad, which is like a water spirit, and all of her equipment is living sea creatures. Like she's got like an octopus that is a harp, but also a bow, and so you're doing like ranged attacks by like playing the harp. And then she's got like an eel wrapped around her arm that sticks its tongue out to use it as a melee weapon, and like a squid that she throws out as a turret. And so you're like, all right, this game's getting weird. And then all the characters get more and more kind of like out there until the end. You're playing a literal dead guy who can rip off his own face and throw it at people to possess them. And so like, just it goes to like the craziest possible directions. Like you actually have to like in VR, like rip off your own head. Throw it at people. Yeah. Like
that's the motion.
Yeah. The motion is you like take your head off and you throw it at somebody.
That's out of pocket.
Yeah. So
it'd be even better if your like goggles were attached, and as you throw it, you have this weird like spin cycle to go through.
Yeah, and so it no, because you're the god. So you're the god in the mortal.
That's
so
right.
Your body stays where it is. But I was even like 75 hours into the game, and they were just introducing new ideas that were such good ideas. Like the last character you play as has a ring, a circlet of prayer beads, and he can do this thing where when he's just holding them in front of him, the prayer beads become a magical shield, and so you can block with it. Or if you hold it off to the side, they just become loose beads, and you can use it to whip to things so that you can cross gaps.
It's like,
just
like Shang-Chi, the Legend of the Ten Rings is what that reminds me of, kind of like having the manipulation of them.
But then you can also take the beads and pull them in different directions. And if you pull them like this, you can create a portal and then open another portal somewhere else, just like in the game Portal. And it creates a two-way thing that you can throw objects through, or you can travel through it. And like, just so late in the game, they're still introducing awesome ideas. It's just crazy, man. Like they just crushed this game.
All right, here's the question from chat.
Here's the question in chat. All wants to know.
What's the chat?
Number one, is it Asgard's Wrath 2 or
Asgard's Wrath 2
or Half-Life Alyx, which is your number one VR game?
God-like level.
That's a great question. So here's the thing. Half-Life Alyx and Asgard's Wrath 2 are both masterpieces in their respective genres. Half-Life Alyx is still the gold standard when it comes to linear, story-focused, high-performant VR games. And I don't think Asgard's Wrath even tries to compete with that.
Okay,
right?
So not on a
but what Asgard's Wrath doesn't do, or sorry, what Half-Life Alyx doesn't do, is it doesn't provide the same open world experience, the RPG experience where it's really crunchy. It's just a completely different game. And so you're just talking different genres and different disciplines, but they're both masters of what they do. And so I would put them on the same footing personally. If I had to pick one though, I would pick Asgard's Wrath 2 because I like RPGs more. You know what I mean? Like
fair.
I like what its genre is doing more, and so for me it's a better fit. But like if you like slower story-based games, and if you're kind of more like a God of War over a Halo, then you're probably gonna like Half-Life Alyx more. But honestly, average Destiny fan probably gonna like Asgard's Wrath more because it has more of a. First of all, it is kind of a live service. They're doing live events in it. Like they have seasons where you, they have seasons where you're doing stuff, and they have leaderboards where you compete against each other. In their roguelite mode, they have a thing where whenever you die, however far you got, you leave your ghost in that room for whoever gets there next. And you can either choose to make that ghost an ally to the player, so when they show up, you join their team and fight alongside them, or you can try to make it a mini boss. And so whoever enters that room, your ghost will pop up and just attack them. And if your ghost wins, you get loot out of it. Right. And so it's like,
like a Dark Souls trap almost.
Like Dark Souls. They add like Dark Souls and asynchronous multiplayer to the game, and that's not even the main game. This is all just completely optional shit they just threw in. In my review, I say it's just them showing off. I mean, it really is. It's just them being like, hey, and also here's this other super cool thing just for the heck of it. But yeah, I mean, it's got a pretty decent story. It's like a typical hero's journey, but it's fine, and the characters you meet along the way are great. It's got optional side quests. It's got explorable open worlds. It's got secrets you can discover. It's got awesome combat, 4 different characters that you can switch between. And once you unlock all of them, you can go back to old areas and play as the new characters, and it unlocks new areas that you couldn't get to before because now you have new characters and stuff like that. It has a fishing mini game. You know what I mean? Like it's just a crazy RPG that I didn't think could exist in VR at this point in time. And not only does it exist, it's great, and it works on a wireless headset, which means you can fully spin around and like, it's just nuts, man. So it is my first 10 out of 10 because I'm pretty strict about what a 10 means. To me, it means this game is pushing the games industry forward in some way. That's the requirement. And I think it's almost impossible to argue that this game isn't doing that because there's nothing like this in VR. Nothing like it. And it is their killer app.
It's that's what I said in my review. Quest 3, get that.
Yeah.
And it's built in with
it comes
Quest
bundled
3.
with
bundled with the Quest, man. If you get it, that's real, man. It's refreshing to hear you say that because again, I just dealt with that team briefly, and I was just worried. I was like, this is sound like I remember when I was talking to them, it almost sounded too perfect. I was like, is it too ambitious? Are they going to be able to pull this off? It's just like it got to the point. It was like, well, what can't you do? When I talk to them, it's that kind of thing. And to hear you, review it and talk to the great lengths of how impressive it is, I guess the last question I have for you from the act standpoint, from the progression, how was that, for you as far as from an open world game? How did they handle that?
The act progression?
Like the act, because you said you did all stuff, and then you get to another act, and you're doing this with the other character, and all how's that progression to get to the act?
Yeah, so because you're a god, the idea is like you can complete their main critical path, and then you basically are, once they fulfill their destiny, you're like, all right, I'm going to go and help somebody else fulfill their destiny. And so you go to a different area, possessing a different character, and you kind of start that loop again. Gotcha. But all the other progression carries over because you're still the same god, right? And so you can bring the old companions from the previous character over with you, and they still have all their upgrades. Nice. You still have any skill points. You invest skill points in each character specifically, but if you're carrying skill points on you as the player and any resources you have, you bring those over. And so it feels like you're building one character even as you're unlocking different ones because they're all part of you, the god, right? You're like, you're leveling up, you're getting more powerful. And then when you go to do the Uncharted Rifts, you get to pick whichever character you want as your avatar when you enter that world. And so you're kind of just adding like tools to your repertoire. It also has like really deep RPG systems where like you're unlocking skills that give you special abilities, and there's like a build crafting element to it, and you're upgrading your equipment. You craft items that give you better stats, and there's runes that you can put into your weapons that give it different status effects and stuff. It's just, dude, it's just a great RPG. Like even if it weren't VR, you'd still be like, dude, this is one of the better RPGs I've played. Yeah. The fact that it is in VR and it's all designed from the ground up VR, it just feels so good to finally get to that level. And I'll be honest, I'm done with reviews for the year now that Resident Evil 4 VR is in the bag. I'm probably going to go back and play a lot more of this game because 90 hours was 90 hours was me trying to kind of semi-completionist run it and get to the end in time for the deadline. But like, I still barely touched Rifts, the roguelite mode. I still have some additional hunts to finish. I have a bunch of stuff that I want to go back and do. And yeah, man, this game's got its hooks in me pretty hard.
Nice.
And honestly,
10.
I'm super proud of the team because they're so passionate and it was, I checked out this game. I previewed it before it was out. And back then I didn't know if it was going to be good, but I liked what I had seen from the beginning. And it just feels really good to see a team that's that passionate. And then you're like rooting for them. And then they pull it off like this because
that's the brief.
yeah, it's also pretty unanimous. I'm not sure if you guys have seen other reviews online. I think IGN.
Oh no, it's like a 93 Metacritic though. It's like it's way up there.
Yeah, IGN was the only major outlet that reviewed it, but like all the other VR specific outlets or smaller indie outlets that reviewed it, kind of the consensus was like this is damn good. So I'm really proud of them.
That's cool.
Yeah, I mean 10 critical ratings. We're sitting at 100, 90, 90, 90, 90, 90.
Yep.
Yeah, everything that's got a score is a 90, and then you're the one at the top. But yeah, that's absolutely.
And I think most of the people who give it a 90 are probably commenting on the performance. Which, to be fair, I do comment in my review, which is that it's not the best looking or best running game in the world, for a few reasons. One, it runs on the Quest 2. And it doesn't have any major modifications on the Quest 3 version because they're trying to keep it roughly at parity, which I think they're going to change. They mentioned that they do want to eventually make like a Quest 3 textures version,
pack,
all that. So I think it probably will get better. But like, even if it runs not that great at times, I kind of liken it to Tears of the Kingdom, right? Like Tears of the Kingdom isn't the most performantly impressive game in the world, but it's so good at everything else, and it's so ambitious, and it nails all that stuff it tries to do that you just kind of don't really care at a certain point. Like I certainly wasn't bothered by how the game looked or performed. So yeah, I love this game, man. I'm really happy that I got to review it because I don't think IGN had plans to review it at all. And then after I previewed it, I was like, "Yo, we need to review it."
Nice.
I was like, I think this game is going to be huge. So
well, shout out to you making somebody's day, by the way. Marie Kyle looks like she's a producer on Asgard's Wrath. Her tweet is, never did I think I could work on a game that got a 10 out of freaking 10 on IGN. I've been crying tears of happiness all day. Thank you so much for loving our game.
Girl.
The countless days I watched the sun rise from my desk, all the hard work worth it. Dreams do come true. Man, like, I mean, you just gave somebody the happy holiday right there.
Well, she earned that. I don't like to think I gave it to her. She made the great game. All I did was play too much of it. So, and yeah, she's awesome. She DM'd me. We were talking during the review period because I think she currently, so here's the funny thing is she and this other guy, Mike Doran, are the two like leads on this project, and they literally are at the top of the leaderboard together on Rifts. Like they hardcore play this game. I think they're currently in a race to see who can 100% the game, and they're both really close. Like they've played this game more than me, and it was my job to play it this week. So, but yeah, like I think their score on the Uncharted Rifts, they each are at the top of different leaderboards with different characters, and they're both in like the hundreds of thousands. And I'm like, damn, dude,
that's hardcore.
You guys are, and they're the leaders of the team. You know, they're they're in the trenches playing it. I'm just like, damn, these guys are nuts. So, yeah, I respect those people a lot. They clearly love their game, and I'm just happy. You know, sometimes like exactly this time last week, I was just finishing a review that was a 4 out of 10, and that did not feel good. The team that saw the review reached out to IGN and were heartbroken about it, and it was like it just kind of ruined my weekend. I put on the VR headset to play Asgard's Wrath 2 with a bad taste in my mouth, and it's easy to forget these bright moments when you're doing that, because I always put my personal feelings aside and say I'm doing this for my fellow gamer, for consumers that deserve to know if this game's good or bad.
I know what that one was. Yeah, sorry.
You hate when it's bad though. You hate when it's bad.
You hate it. Yeah, because you feel
it breaks your heart.
It breaks your heart.
It's not even it's not for you. It's for the people that worked on it, and for the people who thought it was going to be good and all that stuff. it really sucks to see that happen. And so this was a glass of cold water playing this game and just being so relieved that it was as good as it was. I mean, I'm very happy to be able to say that.
Good, well said.
Yeah, I was just literally browsing
the way you
through Twitter.
internalize is the way I internalize it too.
Yeah, I just saw that on Twitter when I was looking at the Naughty Dog news.
Send me that tweet that the developer said. I want to signal blast that.
Yeah, one sec.
Yeah, put that in the chat so I can
That's
see.
you
Thank you,
guys.
sir. Appreciate it.
And then that's
that's dope.
That's the Twitter post from the senior producer on the game.
Nice.
It's awesome
Super
though.
dope.
I mean, that's
awesome.
I was listening to I think it was Play Watch Listen, and I want to say it was Mike Bithell or Austin Winter, one of those talking about bumping into the Baldur's Gate 3 guys, like the team. And then they were talking, when the way you're kind of talking about the passion of like how much they have for it, they were saying he kind of bumped in and was like, "Oh, love your game." He's like, "I'm playing it." And they're like, "Where are you?" And he kind of describes where he is, and they have like so many questions. They're like, "Okay, so what's going on right now? Who's part of your team?" And they just like get all into it. And I think that's kind of like when you see that type of passion for any studio, it's really cool to see that type of stuff have the success to go behind it, because the passion and love and blood, sweat, and tears that goes into it, it's nice to see it rewarded.
Yeah.
Oh.
So yeah,
that's what's up with me.
Nice. Cog,
It's a really long game.
Yeah.
So we had Morla on the podcast for the first week of Season of the Wish.
Yes.
You were otherwise
Game
occupied last week, and we'll get to the Game Awards, but I did want to talk to you about just random podcast game we cover. You know,
this game we cover. What's that thing we do?
How's Destiny treating you, sir? How's your Destiny Season of the Wish going?
Season of the Wish. So I've you know, I say this.
Oh, one thing. Sorry, I was going to say
please.
The Legacy pack on Epic is free.
Wow.
So Witch Queen, Shadowkeep, Beyond Light, that whole pack of those three, that is free on the Epic Game Store. So if you own a PC, download Epic Game Store and buy it. If you're listening to this podcast, you probably already play. But if you know somebody who's maybe thought about it and they're on PC, crossplay exists. They can play anywhere. So if they have a PC, tell them to get that. And that is probably one of the best, most important chunks to probably get for free.
So no backseas. You do it. You own it. The Windows
no, it's free. Yeah,
you still own it.
Yeah, you would own it on PC. You would own it on
PC,
Epic Game
on
Store.
Epic.
Yeah.
What?
Because it's not cross-buy, but it is cross-save. So you can play on there, and yeah.
No, as far as Season of Wish, you know, obviously we start off right with Amakara and Riven and the whole seance and the bit, right? So we're getting to see where the story's going. I thought Riven was kind of funny with the wishes thing, saying like, "Well, I can't do anything because I'm dead. You killed me." I thought that like, I don't know why it resonated.
Yeah,
with me.
you killed me. What do you want me to do? Like,
yeah, what do you want me to do? Kind of thing. So we're getting that lore. I did like the payoff with the 15th wish. You know, that whole bit. I thought that was cool. I am a huge fanboy of the Dreaming City and the aesthetic, even though it's reused assets. I still like it. So didn't like going to the blind well. Didn't like going.
Yeah, that was a fun early reminder. You're like, oh, it's fun. Oh, not this.
Didn't like that. I was like, oh, yeah, messed that part up. But then as we go on, and then we go with the continued reason of getting her clutch and these other baby wish dragons. We got to find the eggs and meet with Mara. I like the contentious relationship between Mara and her. Didn't expect to see my boy Osiris at all this season.
Yeah. I did a little lore video.
Yo, shout out to you. I'm like, what the hell is he doing over here? I want to listen. Yo, bro, I have Bife for my recommendations.
Yeah.
So I'm in the kitchen.
Bife's in the sick bay, and Ebontis is, eyeing his food like.
Trav, I'm in the kitchen,
and
I hear the music. I'm like, I'm ready to hear that. And I'm like, hey, I know you guys are expecting this, but I'm like, wait a minute, that's E? I'm like, what is he doing here? Like, what happened? Did he get his channel hijacked? Did Bife allow this?
Yeah.
Nah, that was dope. I was like, yo, he's like, we tuned it in to save and protect my boy's voice, and he's going through it.
I had a little fun with him because like Fallout had a joke in them because Fallout did it, Dado did one, I did one, Cool Guy, and I think Nomad were probably all of us that signed up, but Fallout kind of had a joke in the beginning of his, and I was like, unfortunately, Bife had a misinterpreted Ahamkara wish, so he lost his voice, and then so I just kind of had fun with how he lost his voice to go with it.
Oh, so good.
But that whole lore thing was about the detail regarding Mara and
yeah,
Mara and Riven.
Yes.
I'll let you guys talk though. I'll be right back.
Yeah, cool. No, I thought that was fun. One of my highlights so far has been when Riven imitated Shax and the whole thing. Did you catch that part, Trav? With the Shax imitation line and the relationship thing? I was like, yo, Riven is cold out here. That part was fun. Look, overall, the coil, I mean, the what is it? I call it like the coil light. I forgot the name of it. That's kind of just to get you warmed up to the activity. You go, you see the little pathways, you go to the boss, whatever. The coil I actually like, Trav. It's long, but it's challenging in a sense, like in the sense of a marathon. And I like the progression of each time you go, it gets a little harder. You pick a little stat buff or, whatever to kind of help you through. So, so far so good. It's probably going to be something we're going to get tired of after 7 months. But as of right now, I'm definitely feeling it. And the only thing that's bothering me, even though I'm a big Osiris fanboy, is they're still trying to force understand what's the foolishness from Nightfall again? The polar opposite to the Traveler. What was it called? The Veil.
The Veil. They did try to elaborate on it, and I was like, dude, nobody believes you. We all know you just made this up.
Thank you. I literally read, and I'm an Osiris fan. I love the whole try to be educated, and I'm like, you ooga booga in this. Y'all trying mad hard to make this sound logical, and the Veil is still messing up the story to me. It's like as soon as they let you, like, hey, like I'm having problems figuring it out, just say, look, you can't figure it out. You can't go follow the witness, whatever he's done. Just get to the part where you say we're going to need Riven and this wish as the thing. But when you try to get into the scientifical aspect of the Veil, you lose me. It's a painful reminder of how bad the narrative in Nightfall is, and I want to forget that. That's where I'm at with it. But overall, I thought it was so far so good. I played a lot of Banner. I missed out when it got changed though. What was the original form? Did you play the original form? Because I didn't know.
No, he did. We talked about it last week, but apparently he thought it was not like terrible, but clearly not as good or straightforward as Control. So it's obvious why they changed it back.
Yeah,
but
I will say that
funny how badly the community reacts anytime they try something even slightly different.
Yeah. But how do you feel about? I'm curious how you feel about the coil, because I really ended up liking it, but I want to know how you felt about it.
It's okay. I mean, I don't know if there's a great reason to do it. They certainly haven't given me a reason to do it because I think the weapons kind of suck this
You don't like the
season.
weapons this season? I kind of like the weapons. The little what is it? The strand fusion that has the
maybe I need to mess around with them more, but I kind of the ones I've gotten so far, I've just sort of been like, okay, these are all right. And then the event is basically just whatever the weekly story event you have to do is, except for it's 5 or 6 times as long, right? And so it's normally like 20 minutes, and it's not that I don't like it. It's just that the couple times I've only completed one coil activity, and then the other 2 times I thought I was gonna have enough time, and then it just kept going, and I was like, I have to leave. I don't have time for this.
No, it's long, bro. It's long. And what sucks
like
is
90 minutes, dude.
It's 90 minutes.
Thing. Yeah.
The problem is, shout out to Will Prescott. The thing I don't like is that if you play with blueberries and it is natural that someone can't commit to keep going lower and lower and go, keep going with you. You're kind of. I had one where I had to do it like 2 people for a long part of it, and it's just like, oh, and then you start seeing people. I will say this: I love the revive bank. It adds a little pressure. Like, all right, yo, stop dying, bro. Stop dying. You keep tripping. Like, it adds a little. And I ain't I'm guilty. I always get caught with the little spiky trap. I'm the dude that tries to be greedy with the pots, and they put the pots all around the spikes, and I'm trying to get the red one, and I get caught. So I know they be cursing me out when I die in those type of deaths. But I do like the little pressure of a revive live pool shared by 3 people. Is just to your point. It is very long, but it seems that they reward people if you're able to finish it. But I don't. With matchmaking, it just probably not a good marriage, because it's like you don't know if these people are going to commit, right? So you got that whole aspect to it.
Yeah,
so.
That's my problem with it. Is it strikes me as a mode that shouldn't have matchmaking options, and I'm glad that you can turn that off and play it alone. But that's a pretty big time commitment. And then playing it with matchmates is a pretty big time commitment. And then playing with your friends is obviously the ideal way to do it. But I have a hard time getting my friends to log on these days.
Yeah, it's been tough.
Yeah, it's been a little tough until the final shape. It probably will continue to be tough.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't have a problem with it, especially. But I'm one of those guys who thinks Menagerie was overhyped.
Yeah, you always said that.
Yeah, I think people look through that with rose-colored glasses because season activities were so much worse before that. They were like
we got a little cracker. We don't know how to act.
Yeah, they were absolutely terrible. Remember when they were public events and without matchmaking and people had to show up? That's what they were before Menagerie. And so when Menagerie came out, I think people were just like, "Oh, this is an actual activity," and they loved it. But I think it's a little bit of Stockholm talking. And then the other reason they love it is because it was bugged and people could farm.
We was eating.
Yeah.
Double chested.
So, yeah, the chests that you could run back and grab like 6 times if you were fast.
Yes.
So I think people look at it through the lens of like, oh, it's hugely profitable and it isn't the previous seasons.
All right, so let's have some fun, Mr. Contrarian. What is your... I think I know what it is, but I want you to say, what is your favorite seasonal activity in Destiny? Because if I had to guess, I remember you liking the one with the ley lines and the roguelite take-in dungeon one thing.
That was my favorite season. Yeah.
Okay, because I was like...
That one actually had like a new kind of sense of discovery every week where... There wasn't just a reason. I wasn't just logging in and doing the exact same activity just so that I could hear a couple new lines of dialogue. I was logging in for that, but also to see what new was going to be in the throne world. Like I really wanted to see what the new ability would be and what I would be able to unlock that I wasn't able to get to last week. And it didn't last the entire duration of the season, but for like the 6 weeks or whatever, where it felt new. I was like, this should be the model because it was great. They get to use existing assets, get to use existing areas while making them feel new because it's about kind of expanding. There was like a little Metroidvania to it.
Metroidvania,
that was cool, man. I thought that was cool. So that would be my vote for season.
Yeah, that's up there. The paths were good. I have a soft spot, even though it's older content. As far as 6-player content, I did like Sundial. I know people didn't like it, but I liked it. It was their first attempt at it. I felt it was cohesive because sometimes 6 could get messy. But I thought the way they did it, that they had a different boss rotate at the end or whatever. Yes, Back for Dead, I liked it because Osiris was in it and a bromance, and we brought Saint back. Yes, it had lore implications, so I did like that.
I liked that part of the season with the community event that was about bringing Saint back. But I thought the Sundial's activity was
I know you ain't like
basically boring the second time I did it, which is my problem with all of these activities is like they're fine the first time, but when you ask me to do it the next week, my brain is already just powering off. I'm looking for a podcast to listen to like aggressively. I'm like, how am I going to get through this?
Well, I thought last season was. Why am I blanking on? I liked Season of the Witches activity. I thought it had a good challenge to it. You didn't like the challenge of the what was it? Because it was Savathun's pit.
Again, it was fine the first time. Second week, my attention was already lost.
But they be changing up the bosses and they change little things to it. Yeah, that's still not enough variant for you.
Does it count as changing the bosses if it's the same knight that I fought 50,000 times in Destiny, except for now he's slightly taller or a different color or something? It's not different, dude. Let's be honest. Every hive you've ever fought is a thrall, a knight, a wizard, or you know what I mean?
The asset problems. I'm talking about the asset.
Whatever, dude. I'm not writing a get out of jail free card just because they have asset problems. That's still a fair criticism. Like,
of course.
When am I going to get a new mob? I don't know, man. It's just
I know that new mob. I know that's what it is. That's what's exciting. You're getting bored by the redundant nature of the same mobs. I know.
The sandbox is killing me, dude. It's been so long since, and they don't use the new
tormentors a lot.
They were gonna use.
Yeah, they kind of saved them for like almost feels like expansion or like a special mission here and there. Tormentors are not running around. Hive Guardians are not running around a lot. They almost feel locked to the expansion almost.
I think they run around Neptune. That's it.
Yes. But even with Neo Moon, I'm trying to think when do we even see them outside? Because you don't see them in free roam.
Summoned. Yeah, you're right. They might not show up. I feel like they get summoned during specific like activities, public activities, but maybe I'm wrong about that. But yeah, anyway, I'm desperately wanting the sandbox to get some sort of shakeup because the last real shakeup we've gotten is Witch Queen, which added the light bearing hive. And I mean we got strands in Lightfall, so that's fair. I shouldn't complain about the sandbox specifically, but when it comes to enemies to fight, I'm still not over the fact that the Witness doesn't have an army that the I have not forgiven that yet. So I don't know if I'm going to.
And you know where that's fair, because when Shadowkeep happened, we still, from my understanding, we didn't have a visual representation of the Witness at that point, other than meeting him in Garden and Salvation as a reflection of myself. So for me, I remember Shadowkeep going on to the pyramid and I'm like, yo, this is cool. And seeing the avatar of the robed. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, this must be the race that we're gonna fight. And that never really came to fruition. They gave us the Tormentor, but we never got, like you're right. A being that powerful shouldn't dress up Callus and say, go get them. He should have an army of dark, villainous type creatures that are Tormentor-like. And I'm with you. They never really fulfilled that for me. So, I doubt it's going to happen with Final Shape. I ask E now that E's back.
I think it's pretty clear that's not happening.
Not happening.
No, the Subjugators are...
right, the new Subjugators.
But it's basically just a strand and a Stasis Tormentor. Yeah. It's not really anything. It is not a brand.
Seem cool, but they seem like one new mob in what should have been like a full faction.
Yeah, they kind of remind me of like a chieftain, where they're going to have like different crowd control annoyances,
right?
As opposed to here's a sniper, here's a thrall, here's a melee enemy, here's like a brute. Like, where's your? And that's kind of where, it is 10 years of the franchise. That's where a little freshness would be nice. I'm just jumping back into where you guys were.
No, you good. Yeah. Basically, just recap. I just briefly I'm a huge fan of the coil. I like the
Have you done the full
I love
Thor everything?
Nice. Yes. I love the shared revive system. I agree with Travis though. The commitment to do it with blueberries is tough, because you almost kind of don't need matchmaking in a way, because I've had times where it was just me and one other dude and someone bailed on me in round 3 of it, really tough situations like that. The inside joke was I chased too many pots in the little the red triangles.
Yeah, but everybody needs to do that. That's the point. That's how you get your points. That's how you get the better loot. That's how you get to the final room. Yeah, people need to do that. Actually,
I jump, but I'll flirt with the spike traps when I'm not supposed to, and I'll waste the lives.
Oh well, you got to be smart about it. Have you been close to running out of lives though? It's you get like 20 something lives. I've never been. I did the whole thing solo and I never got close.
You beasting like
you don't play like Cog, bro.
Yeah,
I'm not walking over spike traps and stepping on rakes every other moment, but
I have my little Warlock floof moments sometimes. I floof in the wrong area and then you get spiked up.
Gotta be careful where you gotta be careful where you floof. That's fair.
Yeah, gotta be careful.
That sounds dirty in some way too.
That sounds very dirty.
You gotta be careful where you floof. Yeah,
we definitely went left.
Yeah. No, like the coil's fun. Riven's Lair is like an odd thing because it's just like do one random branch, which you may see a branch that may not be part of the rotation of the coil this week. But outside of that, it's just like, here's your casual one-off shorter one, but there's no pots, there's no extra loot, there's no... Right. It feels kind of dumb to do that, and then you get to the stories.
Wheels, training wheels for the noobs.
It's training wheels, but after you do a few of them, you're like, okay. Yeah.
No, that's pretty much what it is. But like what I was saying, now I can recap with you, E, as far as what I was going through, which is pretty much like, look, story-wise, love the whole interaction with Riven. I like Riven's diabolical, messing with Crow, messing with Mara all the time. The whole voice when she did the Shax thing was hilarious. I thought that was good. Didn't expect to see Osiris this season. But like I told Trav, a little disappointed because he's still trying to explain the veil, and I don't think Like, I don't want to
No
remember
one
that.
cares.
No one cares about that. Oh,
He's like,
I
I'm
love
still
you,
working
oh.
on the veil over here. I'm like, we're doing
Yeah.
a dragon wish to get in here so you can have fun with your research paper, but
Yeah.
we're not doing that.
The conclusion is I can't do it, and we need Riven.
Yeah, I mean, that's
the end. Don't tell me about the paracausal, and I don't want to hear that. So we got that, and then what I was gonna say, yeah, unlike Travis, I really liked the weapons this season. I thought the weapons were really good. I loved the fusion, the strand fusion.
Strand fusion has potential. Controlled burst is pretty much like the fusion thing now, so that's fair.
I've done that. I'm trying to think. Played a lot of. Obviously we talk about Dragon's Breath. Solar 3.0, the artifact is crazy. You know, that whole.
It is basically solar. There's Stasis still has not had a chance to Stasis. That is a solar artifact through and through. And if you do anything different, you're really shooting yourself in the foot.
You're really shooting yourself in the foot. And played a lot of Iron Banner. Did that.
Really?
That was played a lot. I played. That's what I was going to ask you.
Did you just want the banana emblem? Is that really what you were going for?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Banana joint. Pause. And then
we got 6 months. I'm not rushing that one.
Yeah, we got time. But I didn't play it in its original form.
Oh,
I
Tribute?
heard that was a disaster.
It was,
What
absolutely.
happened?
Okay, so it's like Supremacy, but then it's like the finals where you have to go bank. So you pretty much go around and pick stuff up. And then I was like, oh, cool, it's Supremacy. So I wasn't looking at the scoreboard in like my first game. And then running around, shooting people, picking up things. Somebody dies, drops a few, I picked up a few more. Cool. Why am I losing 52-2? That is how it started. And I'm going, I'm missing something. No, I just was not noticing there were the banks that you had to deposit in. So then you're sitting there collecting some of these things, getting a group of them, and it's the risk of how many do I have? Do I risk? Do I run back for a little thing? Is there one that I can get to? I had a couple of games that were kind of good if everybody understood the mechanics, was playing it kind of smart. They seemed very lopsided, though, very mercy heavy, because one team wouldn't get it, one team would. And if you just started to deposit and the other team wasn't paying attention to it or not managing it well, it got out of hand pretty quickly. Something is kind of there. I get where you're trying to deposit those to get a little... The kill confirm is one thing, but then taking the pile of, what are they, dog tags from Call of Duty, basically, and depositing those in the bank is... There's kind of some... It just needs some tweaks, some work, something to it, because it's not quite there. But there is... I could see something, but it's not quite. There was also weird mechanics where there's one of the engrams that you would see just bouncing up and down in the air, like 10 feet in the air.
Oh, no.
Big, and it's just sitting here doing this infinite loop of bouncing, and then you're trying to wait for it to land on you so you can pick it. So it just needs a little work, I think. But it has something potential. I see there's a little potential there, but I also think it needs work. And the banks move every 35 seconds. Somebody said that. It's they move, and you could almost be getting close to one, and then you dunk, and you're like, all right, let me get a few more, and then I'll come back, and it's gone. Where'd it go?
So now I'm playing. I love that new auto. If you get that with the Iron Man auto with target lock, bro, I'm destroying people with
it. Is pretty laser-like.
Bro.
Yep.
KD was off the chain. I'm leading. I'm like, I know it's
hold
the gun
on.
now.
Hey guys, what type of weapon did Cog just say he liked?
I don't know what I said.
An auto rifle.
Oh yeah.
It's an auto rifle.
It is an auto.
I don't like. This is an auto rifle.
Look, you gotta cater to the casuals sometimes. They can't use the skill weapons all the time.
Are you calling yourself a casual? What's happening here?
I'm a pulse rifle dude. I don't usually use that. What it is, I started getting bodied by it, and I was like, yo, what is this gun that I keep losing to? And I was like, oh, that must be the Iron Banner joint. So then I got one roll with Onslaught. It was okay, but it was the target lock roll that I got. It is, and the one that every time you shoot it, you do damage. It increases your handling and reload. It's that combination perk that I have, bro. I am bodying people like 30, 40 kills all the time, top of the joint all the time. And then you're gonna laugh. I'm being real old school sweaty. I went with Lord of Wolves. I dusted Lord of Wolves off.
Why do you always have to go back to that?
Because when they run, it's the damn the dudes. They run down on you. They aping all the time, or they try to use the fusions all the time. So I just either back up if they try to ape, and Lord of Wolves. That's been my counter strategy for years. I went to the lighthouse that way one time.
Yeah.
So that's my little combo right there. I just gotta find like a nice little machine gun to kind of pair with it. You know what I'm saying? Probably like a 450 or something, a little legendary. I haven't locked into a good legendary 450 or something for heavy round. But other than that, I had fun with it. It was decent. You know, played some what is it? Little Stasis in there. Was it Stasis? I forgot the 3 that they make you pick in Iron Banner this season. I forgot.
I didn't even pay attention to those.
Yeah, I don't pay attention to whatever. But look, it is what it is. You know, it's Banner. It's all right. You know, I just want the emblem.
It's like the one of 20 Iron Banners we're gonna have this season. You know, we're gonna have a few.
Exactly. But we'll see where the story go. That's just pretty much where I'm at. And just, you know, the 7 months thing. That's all I worry about. Like, how are they gonna navigate this, right? Because it's so long. We
have an exotic quest next week.
Oh.
That's on the website. I mean, it's the one for the strand bow. The exotic strand bow. That one will be coming in. So that exotic quest is coming next week. Then do what?
The strand bow? Really? Interesting.
I always like bows, so I'm curious if it can.
Curious. Yeah.
That one's got potential.
Do you know why they call them bows?
Why do they call them bows?
Because they're a present.
This guy. Did any of you guys start the dawning, or are we saving that for later?
No. I mean, I made a video on it. I made 2. No, I made 1.
Did it have lore? I know you do lore now.
Oh my god! No, I don't do lore now.
I heard your voice in a lore video. You do lore. You're a lore.
Those are different things.
Creator.
I put my voice in a scripted. I read by script. That is what I did. I did not make that video up, by the way. If anybody's wondering,
sounds like you're a lore guy to me.
It's like killing Santa Claus. You are now.
This does not sound like the same thing. This does not sound like the same thing.
You are now becoming Bife. I can already hear the British accent coming in.
Yes, my voice. It sounds so much like the smooth tones of Bife.
That's why you're nasally now. You're starting. You're in the conversion process.
Yeah, oh, I got to go through puberty too, and then.
Yeah.
You're the herald of the Lord. Now.
There's pretty much no lore on Dawning. None. That's fine.
None? Yeah.
I haven't. If there is on weapons or anything like that, I have not looked into it. My frustrations with the Dawning are the fact that they are so stingy with so much of it.
Yeah, with the spirit.
So if you're going to spend time in the coil, you might get some ingredients, but you'll never see a snowball. You can go into the Vanguard ops and see snowballs in there, which is probably the better place to do that if you're trying to go for those. But then if you go into Crucible, you might get a couple here and there. So it depends on where you play. And it's the coil. The thing's going to be an hour and 40 minutes or 30 minutes. Like I ran it solo. I mean, I ran it with Teddy and it was 38 minutes, but
shout out to Teddy.
He asked me if I wanted to run one and I'm like going, sure.
Bless his soul.
Yeah, he still plays a little bit here and there. I ran it by myself and it was 90 minutes, but either way, you're killing so many enemies, not one snowball. But the ingredients, I have a Bonk Titan hammer. That is what I'm doing this season. No question about it. I will own it all season long because this is a solar season.
3 Geeks gets it. 3 Geeks knows.
Here's the E becoming a lore master. All right. Well, I know what my Christmas break is going to be.
My name is E.
My name is E.
Change that Twitter name.
My name is E. Yo, that would be hilarious to see as your channel.
I just started a new channel.
Yeah.
I just need to find a Latin sign-off phrase that is not per audacia ad astra. I can't take his, but it's the ingredient dropping being stupidly stingy. Bugs the ever-living hell out of me. It's already a task every strike you do or every Crucible match you do, you'll get the essence of Dawning. You'll get like 15, 16, 17. That's already enough of a grind. One of the first cookies I have to bake on when it takes you through the quest to bake all of them.
Quest steps, yep.
One of the first ones is for, I think it's Shax. I forget who. But it's the one, it needs personal touch, which is a melee ability. Do you think I've killed a few enemies with my bonk hammer? A few. Just a few thousand of them by now. I have 0 of that ingredient. 0. Like, I do not understand why you would have to be stingy on a drop rate on the ingredients when the essence is the thing that you've got to farm for anyway.
He said Ebontis. Yo,
Ebontis.
I like that. Ebontis, the Bonk Titan. I like that. Yeah,
that's actually not bad.
That's it's really good. No, I'm with you.
But that's kind of like my main issue is you could shower us in the blue and green ingredients, and the Estus is still going to be the thing you farm. Yes, if you want to go into the Lightfall mission where you get the checkpoint right after the Tormentor, sure, you can do that if you want to, and that's your crazy hardcore people. But for the average person, the ingredients should not be slowing me down. Shout out to 3 Geeks on that $10 super chat, though. You guys are going to start a lore trend. That's my biggest one I don't get. That's my annoyance. If I go through and I get the gifts for giving cookies and all this stuff, but the biggest thing, I still got to go run strikes. I mean, you do a public event, you get 5, but you also finish an entire coil and you get 5.
Yeah, that's bad.
And it's always the thing where they never make the seasonal events and then the longer arduous activities make sense balance-wise. You could probably run the whole dungeon and get 5. I think actually Fallout finished his dungeon today and you get 5. I mean, you should be dropping 50 per encounter or something. And then they'll be like, oh no, people are then going to go farm the first encounter and da-da-da-da. I'm like, okay, well then make it progressive. 15 on the first one, 30 on the second one. Drop 100 when you finish the dungeon. People are farming your dungeon. Oh no, that's paid content anyway. That's kind of the stuff that bugs me when they shove you so much into Vanguard Ops, Crucible. No one really wants to play Gambit except everybody might want the Breakneck this season. That's the only weapon that's in there.
I play Gambit every season. I'm the only fool. I love Gambit still. I'm sorry.
What is it? I gilded Dredgen a few times. I have not done it in a long time for a reason. But that's my big issue is it's okay that not everybody, you don't have to just shove everybody into the playlists. If you're taking away from the seasonal activity or raids or dungeons, you don't make those, hey, I want to go run a raid. Oh, cool. And look, I got like 100 of this. Yay. Bonus. Nope. Can't do that. And that's one of those things where I have a question. Why not? As a player, it feels bad. So explain to me why this is a bad idea. That's my thoughts on the Dawning. As for weapons.
Wait, what's your weapons?
I think Lego was talking about Glacioclasm.
Ooh, I saw his video.
Yeah, I didn't watch it, but I saw the thumbnail. Depending on, I mean, if that thing got controlled burst, maybe. But that's also like a 960 or it's a high impact, so it's going to be slow.
Yeah.
What else? You got the new glaive, which is arc, which it's fine.
How's that glaive?
It's a aggressive frame glaive, which I'm not a glaive main. Basically ever.
Kagoroth was good. The Kagoroth one with close to melee was good. The solar one.
Yeah, I think that's what you'll be looking for on this one. It's the same thing. It'd be close to melee arc.
No vote shot and nothing sexy.
I don't think you would want to be trying to beacon rounds. Yeah, you'd probably want beacon rounds and what did you just say? It's the new one. It's a new rocket launcher thing. Or no, it's on the rocket pistol. I'm sorry. It's on the rocket.
Like tracking something, right? Something like tracking shots.
Yeah, I've got it on my rocket pistol. Hold on.
My monster mix. I didn't like high impacts until I got Eremite, and now I'm used to it. So I got a heel clip, reservoir burst one that's sick, and I just go with 3.0 on that one.
So beacon rounds. Final blows with this weapon grant your projectiles tracking, dealing further damage extends this duration. Weapon kills grant strong projectile trapping for some seconds, and it's question mark right now because we don't have the data. Stacks up to 4 times. Dealing damage extends it, but that's on the rocket pistol, so it's a bit more consistent. So if you're talking a glaive, I guess you might get a little tracking on it there, that kind of thing.
Look at Enzo. Look, that Enzo.
It's like Enzo is just. Yo, I don't know. Bro, I don't know if you guys can see my dog right now.
The podcast
He's just like, buddy, I need you to.
I love the look right now. It is classic.
Yeah, this is the stare off.
Not moving. I know they stare off. They're like, you're gonna notice me. At least pet him.
Oh, I do know that's all the time. I mean,
it's just funny, like the acknowledgement it's demanding right now. It's hilarious.
Oh, Enzo is hilarious. He is the one who will sleep all day, play whatever. But if he has a specific need, he's like, I need to go outside, or if it's dinner time, he is going to let you know about it. I mean, he even does the kind of exhausted exhale, like,
Oh no.
He'll get a little attitude and sass on his exhales if he wants something. Be like, I'll even look at him and be like, is it dinner time? He's definitely
I love it.
opinionated, so
I
he's
love
funny.
it.
That's my issue with Dawning is take the
Fair.
friction out of it. It doesn't need to be there. I've already got to grind 5,000 strikes or whatever you want me to do for anything anyway. Yeah, it's the harumphs. Yeah, exactly. So I'll be right back. He seems to want some.
Yeah, do what you got to do. No, it's good. I definitely hope it's not 7-month time gated materials. That's a week for us to do this nonsense. Did you get a chance? I was going to ask E, but I didn't get a chance to do the dungeon yet. Without spoiling, did you get a chance yet? Oh, you did. What's the Trav feel of this dungeon?
I think it's pretty strong. I mean, I kind of prefer their dungeons to their raids these days. I think they're less afraid of trying new things with the dungeons. They kind of have more experimental mechanics. Like I was talking to E about this last week, but like I won't spoil what they do in this dungeon, but in this dungeon they do something pretty unique. In the old dungeon, they do that thing with darkness and light where you have to be in shadow or whatever. And there's stuff like that where I think they kind of refuse to get away to do that in raids. And there's a lot of standing on plates and dunking things and kind of predictable crap. And I think it's because of the competitive side of it where they don't want to go too far into things that might break or are a little bit unpredictable or whatever. And so they tend to rely on the same handful of gimmicks. And I think I think dungeons tend to be a little bit more interesting. So in terms of the flavor of it and what you're actually doing in the world you're in, it's awesome. Like really, really good.
That's big.
Mechanics are okay. I had a complaint about them asking you to do a little bit too much too quickly. They'll be like, hey, do these 5 things in 15 seconds. And you have to like remember to do it all. And it's not really even about the challenge. It's just about like the memory of like, oh yeah, I have to do all of these different things at the same time. Just a lot to keep in your brain.
Right.
But I think it's good. I mean, it's dungeons are, by my money, some of the best content we get in Destiny. So I am a little annoyed that Ikora is just the dungeon vendor, though.
Oh yeah, it's kind of weird. Yeah, it's kind of weird, especially E, your thoughts? You are a resident dungeon guy, so what do you feel? How are you feeling? Spoiler free. I haven't jumped in yet, but I know the general premise. But like,
I generally like it. I like how you start with a little more action than some. I'll say that if you haven't seen it.
I've not seen it.
Final boss has more movement and kind of chipping the health bar.
Okay.
So it doesn't feel like do this entire, like the opening or the setup for a Ghosts of the Deep final boss phase is a lot.
Yes.
Run in this room, take care of your curse or your Lucent Hive over here. Okay, now which one? Line it up, go over here, do a Rubik's Cube, go over here. All right, line this one up, take care of this one. Same thing, go over here. All right, now you get about 15 seconds to do some damage. Hopefully you got perfect ammo. Oh, you've been farming ammo for a while because you didn't get ammo to drop, yada, like that. This doesn't feel like that because there's more movement to the entire arena and you're doing chips before you get to the full damage phase. So I like that progression. The middle one as a solo player feels a little chunky. I wish there was a little more scaling. I went through the entire coil as a solo player.
I'm shocked.
And I got the final room, bonus room.
Wow.
Did the whole thing. Took me an hour and a half. But as a solo player, played it safe. I probably stepped away for a little bit or whatever after that. But I did the whole thing. And the scaling felt, I mean, the bosses, they were chunks. Like, they were chunky, but for a solo player, running around, staying alive, they worked enough. And I feel like if there, it doesn't have to be massive scaling. I'm talking, if you're a solo player in there, 20, 30% is still going to make me do the cycle 4 or 5 times instead of 5 or 6. Like, take just a couple of phases off as a solo. I proved the mechanics plenty. I think that's my only scaling on a couple of them. The first, earlier on, you'll see something where the scaling is probably easier, and you'll notice that. But just that as a solo player, and again, Salted Grandpa is also doing it in 2 phases, so more power to me just needing to get good, sure. But for a lot of the average people, I think it is still a pretty meaty task.
Yeah.
And if you're going for the triumph as a solo player, you can't leave the dungeon. So then you
Right.
have to do it in one run, which for some people could be a couple hours if you're trying. So that's kind of the point to where if I've done the cycle 3 or 4 times, I should be done.
Right.
And that's probably my only tweak. But it does, the mechanics on the final one, I like how that, even if it might be just as long, it felt better the way it's handled.
Nice.
But overall,
Mhm.
cool, fun. I like the repeat runs will be also still be good. I think they've managed this one to be near the top of the list.
Oh, okay, nice.
You know, a lot of people will say Prophecy's towards the top. Ghost has some cool moments, but people don't like the water stuff. I think this will be near the top for a lot of people. I really do, if not on the top for some people.
Yeah, I think dungeons are. Yeah, I mean, we have to give them their flowers as far as like the hierarchy now and getting to that point, you know, where they are challenging raids very strongly. And I agree with Travis with the mechanics and some of the unique things they are doing seems to be interesting in the space. I feel like they're more creative. They've been taking more risks in that space. And it's getting a little samey with symbols in raids. I'm getting a little annoyed with
I don't need to have
symbols.
37 symbols in the final shape raid. But that's kind of the cool thing is I would expect episode 1 not to have a dungeon, but the other 2 episodes should have a dungeon in them because the collector's edition of the key has a dungeon key. So we should get a couple more dungeons, which is, I mean, I could be a variety content creator. I'm still going to come back for the dungeons. You know me. I'm going to be for those for as long as the game exists. But this is definitely in the upper echelon of dungeons, no question. I think for a lot of people. Loot, I would say, is probably where...
Loot, bro. How that loot?
There are probably a couple things that might, but a lot of the loot feels kind of lacking.
What's the origin perk on the loot?
Weird.
What they want you to do now?
Hold on, I'll pull up that weapon. So it's called Sundering. It says destroying vehicles and constructs grant this weapon bonus reload speed and charge rate.
Already lost me at constructs.
But it's just like, so you're going other objects created in the field. Generally, there's not enough of those to matter. There's really not. So that doesn't help me.
That's kind of bad.
Yeah. I mean, we have the little rocket assisted sidearm, which is, it's fun. It's a little rocket sidearm with special ammo. You're like, okay, I can do a little fun with that. Do I have the picture? Hold on, let me see if I have the picture. Yes. There's a picture of just the gear. Okay. Trying not to break the stream here. So you've got sniper rifle, which I don't think anybody's talked about. And then I was playing with Cool Guy and Jingle on my first time through. Jingle got the sniper and was like, oh, this is awful. The scope is very limiting. You can't see a lot of the frame around you. So it really blacks out a lot of...
I hate when a scope ruins an otherwise good gun.
Yeah.
You can't deal with the ADS or the scope you're using.
Yeah, so the scope on that one didn't get a lot of love. I didn't even look through it. It looked not great. You've got a caster strand sword, which have as much fun as you want there. You've got a strand bow, which we're going to get an exotic strand bow, but for a regular strand bow, I don't even know if it comes with hatchling, but it better kind of thing. And then you have the rocket sidearm. That's mostly it. And then your gear is your North Face outfit. I mean, that's your... Sorry, that's not specifically what it is, but it's your...
They gotta deal with North Face.
It's not North Face. It's like your South Pole attire. It's your puffy jacket. It's the fur. It's like cold weather gear, but it's not...
What about, since you're the lore person now, like, what about the lore?
The lore is kind of interesting with like an Ahamkara, Chimera. I haven't done the full quest, so I haven't listened to Bife's video yet either. Vengeful Whisper does have hatchling. So, I mean, if you get into a strand thing and you're sitting there like plinking little guys with a bow and hatchling every one of them, and you've got a Warlock hatchling build, I can see that. I can see the bow being reasonable. Caster sword, probably not doing it for me. Anything too specific to it. The rocket sidearm, probably going to have a little unique. But the sniper and the sword, half of it, I'm kind of already out. And if you can get...
exotic?
Oh, God, what is the exotic? Oh, it's that weird little crossbow. That's what it is. It's it's a sidearm, but it's a
crossbow with it's like purple void looking. I saw somebody had a video. I was like, what is that? You muted. E.
Touch my mute button. Touch my mute button.
Okay. Yeah, you were saying.
Yeah, it's the void special crossbow sidearm kind of. So it's a sidearm, but functions as a double shot crossbow.
Okay.
I mean, I watched Astrocross's video because somebody he knew got it. In PvP, it doesn't seem like it's going to be great. And in PvP, it's still doing a double tap. It's got travel time, so it's not going to be the easiest to manage. And the PV, I don't know if it's that exciting. It might. I mean, Void with Devour. Yeah, so it's like the dungeon itself is cool, like a really cool experience. When you go through it, you'll see. I mean, you will enjoy the experience of going through the dungeon, but the loot is not the greatest. I was Kevin. We had him on the show a while back. A lot of the dungeons don't have the best loot. It seems sometimes it grants Devour without subclass. Okay, Buried Bloodline.
What you call it did the Caiatl one. That one has some really nice loot in it, I felt.
That one did. That one, yeah, because you had Storm Chaser for that. You had the machine gun, the Void, SMG.
The chill clip grenade launcher with disorient with
Yeah, there were a few. There've been a few, but there's also some. This one does feel lower tier on the loot.
And the last one, I felt the loot was kind of
too.
Cool.
So yeah, the experience is fun. I'm doing it more for the experience, to do the solo flawless, that kind of thing. But then also, I was talking to Teddy, and he was talking about doing a master run of the dungeon, and I'm sitting there going, I just don't care. Because I mean, the only thing in there is artifice armor, and I was even looking at some of my armor pieces. I'm sitting here, I'm like, I have a 67, 68, high resilience, a little lower on the recovery, some good discipline strength. I got all my stats and abilities. I'm kind of good. So for me to get a better artifice armor that's actually distributed well, it's not worth my time. It's just not. You could probably farm the opening of this one without saying too much relatively quickly if you were looking to try and get some sets, but it also feels like artifice armor should just drop higher. I mean, that should be, you already have to get it to roll right, and you're running through a master dungeon. Don't throw me a 60 or a 61. That should, same thing as a master raid. That stuff should just not happen.
It never happened.
I mean, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70 should be the range of master level loot in armor, period. It should not be lower than that.
Minimum.
And that, I mean, you put the effort in, you should at least get rewarded with guaranteed. Because I guarantee you, if it was...
Maybe it should be lower.
No, it shouldn't. You cannot give me a good reason on this one. You can play... Why would Master let... No, I want, like, seriously, why?
Here we go.
No, this is...
Imagine if you were the... Imagine if you're the only person in the game with armor that had 20 stat points.
20?
20 total.
Here we go. Competitive balance. Here we go.
So you're just going to die all the time?
Let's go.
Here's my counter argument. If you are an elite player who can actually pull off the master and manage to get armor that is that bad, you wearing it is sort of a flex because you're like, dude, I don't even need the protection. I'm wearing armor and my stats are all at
I mean, you could
7.
just take off and you could just take off an armor piece and wear nothing in that slot if you really want to challenge yourself, but that's just no.
Can you?
Or just go fine, go to Zur when he has a broken weekend when he's selling like 53s, do it that way.
I'm saying, what if it was even lower? What if the armor was
this
bad
is just garbage. This is nothing.
Okay, well, imagine
this is nothing.
Right no. Imagine it's terrible armor, but it looks amazing, and you wear it because you're like, dude, I'm that good. I'm wearing.
I would turn it into an ornament, and then I'd be fine.
No, you can't turn it into an ornament. No, it's a flex.
Then I don't care.
If you wear it, it means you're so legit. You don't even need the help of resilience.
You know what? I will look like a third player and stay alive while I'm running through my activities. Thank you very much.
Yeah, because you're not goated.
No, I will let Salted Greppo the angelic. Dude, Salted Greppo could have armor that looks like the main angel in Diablo 4. I'd let him have it. I would not go for that if it was that much of a detriment.
Imagine getting destroyed in a 1v2 in Crucible by a guy wearing the armor that gives
It
him
is kinda funny, though.
7 everything.
You have any
Imagine
idea
that
how-
happening. And imagine that person then going and making a video of them clipping you and just repeatedly just dousing people wearing that armor.
Wear the
Okay?
naked armor.
I mean, if
Now
you want to
tell me.
flex, yeah, go wear white armor and sure, go nuts. That's fine.
But
Like,
wouldn't that be
shit.
more interesting than just regular armor? We already have so many sets of armor.
Well, that's
Probably
the
has.
annoying
Mike-
thing.
He nerfed himself.
Yeah,
Come
you
down.
want to
Admit I
nerf
have-
yourself?
admit-
That's fine.
Admit I have a point.
It's funny.
No, I will.
It's funny.
I will
will give him that.
absolutely. You want to know what annoys me more? This
What?
season, they flirted with a set bonus, but it's on the artifact. So when the season is done, the armor set doesn't. The set
You're right.
bonus isn't gonna stay. I'm like,
What is
no.
it? It's tied to one perk that if it increases your effectiveness of getting something if you have more of
more
the armor
pieces
set
of
on.
armor on, but then when the artifact goes away,
Gone,
that
yeah.
benefit goes away. So
I
I'm
know.
going,
They're
why'd you do it
flirting
again?
very weakly. Very weakly.
I was so annoyed by that. I'm going,
Yeah, I did see that.
yeah. So
I was
again,
like, oh.
set bonuses, half step forward, half step backwards. Yeah, no.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's Season of Solar or Season of Fire. Right now, everything just explodes. By the way, Sunshot for the final fight in the dungeon. Just bring it with you. It's nice.
Oh, it's nice.
It's
Sunshot,
really
really
nice.
Really nice.
Shout out to Esoteric. I was like, all right, so and then final fight with that one, and I pulled it out and I was like, damn, that's effective. So
Mhm.
I forget how good that thing is sometimes.
Yeah, it's funny. I haven't been.
And it's
using
probably getting
Sunshot,
helped by the artifact, but
what's been helped for me. It's funny you mentioned Sunshot because I've been using the Taken the King's Falls, basically solar version of it, legendary version of it.
oh yeah.
And that thing is beast. So it's funny. I've been having a lot of fun with that this season, but I haven't actually.
Yes, I
you know
what
who
you're
I'm
talking
talking
about.
about. Yeah. Zowl's Bane.
Zali's
or something.
Bane, yeah, I have one of those tucked away
I got a
somewhere.
nice one, incandescent. But yeah, I can imagine Sunshot must be crazy right now.
Yeah, I have an explosive payload incandescent I tucked away somewhere. So
Yeah.
yeah, so I mean that one works. Just Sunshot, you can shoot him in the. There's little enemies, so you can shoot him in the toe, so stuff's just exploding all over the place.
Okay.
But it's very effective for certain parts of that fight without saying too much. Zali's Bane, yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I got a good one. Pugilist, and I think it's one of those either incandescent or payload. One of those. It's crazy. With the artifact, it's nuts.
Yeah.
Especially that last tier one with the extra little explosion gives everything almost like a firefly type effect, dragonfly type effect. It's crazy.
Yeah. Anything else for Destiny before we talk about the Game Awards?
That's pretty much it for me. Nothing really happened in the TWAB, really, right?
TWAB was a nothing.
Yawning.
TWAB was a nothing
So
burger, so that's fine.
Yeah, we did this. We shot this. Clears
Yeah,
by
go
that.
go have fun looking up the stats. That is totally
Yeah,
fine.
that was that. And I did like the little voice actor and actresses.
Do you
Oh,
guys
yeah,
get
that's
the
stuff's
press
cool.
releases about the Twids?
Yeah, I do.
No. Actually, no. Yes, I do. Yes. I do.
Yep.
Yeah. That one comment. It's just
No, no
funny. Some of
comment?
those I get. I'm like, really? Press release?
All right,
I
I
don't know if
want
every,
your.
I don't know if every twit is press release worthy.
Mhm.
All right,
Where we
Cog.
going with the Game Awards? What's that?
Give me one. We'll just go around the circle.
Mhm.
Just give me one thing that you got pumped about during the Game Awards.
Ooh.
I will say
We're
this up
starting off
front.
with trailers, huh?
Well, I was
Yeah,
going to say, I'll
sure.
say this up front because I feel like this has been talked about for a week on everything else I've heard talk about the Game Awards.
Yes.
Just the way the awards themselves were handled. And I think a lot of people have said this already. I thought IGN did an awesome thing because a lot of people who
Yes.
received awards
Love
did
what,
not get a
Rebecca
chance to.
Rebecca had a fantastic piece about.
She's the goat, dude.
Yeah,
She's the
she's
goat.
killing it.
That's what I
So-
want to see. I love that.
So yeah, I mean, a lot of people did not get a chance. I mean, best indie game, Sea of Stars, did not get a chance to
Best
even.
RPG.
Yeah,
Best RPG was a byline. They were like, best RPG, moving on.
Yeah, moving on. The speed rush this list off. and
Yeah.
Get back to the trailers, y'all.
so it was. That was very much lacking. I've heard that feedback from pretty much everybody I've listened to.
Yeah.
It's like I'm in agreement. I think we probably all are.
Yeah.
Being it's a 3-hour show and there was 12 minutes of awards or something like that, and I think some of that was extended. You
clear
have
what his focus is.
exactly. I mean, that's not too surprising. So extend that a little more. Give people their time to get their flowers for the one they killed themselves to get these things out. Let them get their recognition.
Mhm.
That type of stuff I think is that feedback seems to be very common from everybody. So I just wanted to get out of the way up front. Now, what were your? Give me one. We'll just go around just one at a time. We'll just go around. Big stuff for you.
I'm gonna start with Exodus first.
Ooh, nice.
Because
this is your Mass Effect. I know exactly what that is.
Yeah, that's archetype, and I've been following them for years. And I want to know.
You're just saying that because Matthew McConaughey's dreamy. Don't act like there's any other.
He's easier on that.
I mean, that's a good-looking dude. I'm sorry, like he's a good-looking dude.
I liked it a little too much for me though. I was like, bro,
I was writing, and he came out, and I was like, God, some dudes, dude. Can you imagine being that good-looking?
No, no, I cannot.
My world is so different, you know.
Yes, it's a different life, right? It's a different life.
How many doors must that open for you, dude? Like, if you just look like that, it's crazy, man.
Shout out to McCarty, he's doing his thing. But yeah, man, shout out to that team, man. Archetype, you know, Drew and a lot of the ex-BioWare, you know, that we know and love from classic Mass Effect. And I thought it looked really solid. I would say is that like the faces looked a little different. They chose like a very distinct art style, I felt.
Yeah.
But I liked what I saw. I liked the enemy types. I liked what was going. It gave me Mass Effect vibe. It did, and I'm curious to see the writing and how they're gonna do. So that would be one of my early choices. I was surprised to see it in how they showed it.
Nice, Travis.
What you got?
One thing that I got excited about from the Game Awards.
Yep.
Any game? What trailer excited you?
I was 90 hours of VR ago. And
wait a minute.
Before. Yeah, I'll go with Dave the Diver and Dredge crossover.
I did not see that coming, man.
That was the first thing they announced, and as soon as I said it, I was like, dude, this seems like something that happened where like they both of those games were released around the same time, and I'm betting that one of them just called the other or DM'd them on Twitter and were like, dude, we should do something. Wouldn't that be fun?
Yes.
It strikes me as something that just happened organically.
It's so... And they're both great games too. Like you should play them both, and the fact that somehow they're going to cross, I was going, yes, just yes.
That
was an easy one.
What about you, E?
I mean, my number one, just because I've been waiting for it, it's Wilds, Monster Hunter Wilds.
Really? I didn't think it showed well. I was surprised. They got the heavyweight spot though. To your credit, they got that. They got the spot.
It's like the follow-up to Monster Hunter World is the first one that hooked me. I tried 4 on DS. I even played some of Sunbreak, Sunbreak or Rise, whatever the more recent one is on PC. Right. And they had some cool stuff, and the old one did. But World, I put 150 hours into that puppy on PlayStation. And I didn't even touch Iceborne because I didn't want to redo it on PC. But for me, Monster Hunter Wilds, the way Monster Hunter is, you have all of these... I don't know if they're not specifically numbered, they kind of used to be, but all these little arenas and little pockets together that you would go between, and then you'd run and kind of do the Destiny thing where you might go from one to the next. If they can pull off an open Monster Hunter world, that's what
they go for.
And you got looks like a mount. I don't know if you can fly. That, because the combat in it gets fun, and that's one of those that's rewarding. Hey, here's this crazy monster, but I want to go get your really cool armor set, or I want to build a cool sword, and it's... I haven't got back into a Monster Hunter for a reason because I've been waiting for World 2. And this is World 2. This is the follow-up to World. So for me, Monster Hunter Wilds is one where, I'm 100% there. There's a lot that I liked, but that was the one I'm going, yep, 100%. It's 2025, so that and Grand Theft Auto 6 for that year. But I am definitely there for that one.
Nice.
Cog, next one.
They went for all the heart feels for me.
Oh, no. Oh.
They went, listen... I saw that shit. You know it, baby. You know it, baby.
Yeah.
I've been clamoring for years. You guys are sitting on treasure troves of IPs that need to be.
I will say there's one in there I'm curious how they pull off.
Which one?
Golden Axe.
Yes, that one is going to be.
I am intrigued. Like Crazy Taxi, I can picture. I mean, Shinobi, I can see. Like some of those. Golden Axe for modern, I'm really curious.
How does it translate? The cool thing is, I think Gene Park had the interview with the CEO who actually made the decision to kind of remake these things. Apparently, like they're going to bring a lot of the original creators, but also a new take on the vision. So I was surprised it wasn't like, hey, we're just going to remaster old stuff. Like you're actually attempting.
Yep.
So I like that. And I do understand that, look, modern Sega, Sonic had him on its bag. Persona, Yakuza, we get it. That's the new wave, and that's what kept the lights on. But this is what we were here for. And I like edgy rebel. I like that. Like, so for me, grown man, I own the arcade cabinet Shinobi. So when the camera peeled into before it even started, I said, "Oh, it's like, what's going on? What's they doing?"
No, I saw the Shinobi logo and I went, I bet you Cog is somewhere tinkling his little panties.
Bro, grown man. I was like, they doing it. They listen to all this because we've been beaten down. We're the downtrodden, man. They forgot us.
You're Sega fans.
Shut
You
up.
should be forgotten.
But we rolled in the 16-bit era. We dominated.
You didn't dominate anything. What are you talking about? You didn't
Original
dominate.
fanboy stuff was going on. Y'all want to talk about fanboy?
Nintendo didn't eat their lunch the entire generation.
Yeah, it's like Sega didn't dominate anything. Sorry, no.
You know, they had their time. They may have.
You were a second-class citizen, and you're just happy to see them get some more stuff.
I'll be a second-class citizen.
Look,
but when Genesis, we had our chest out with Genesis, boy.
I appreciate you for always supporting the underdog. You love to be on the side of the loser, whether it's Sega or Xbox.
That's why we're all 49ers fans, because after when I found the 49ers, they sucked until recently. I've been underdog for a while.
They were great when I was a kid.
That's what I'm saying. Like they were. That was the area when I got into them was they were good, and then they stopped.
Yes,
and then they've been bad for a very long time until basically Kyle Shanahan when he got there, and then was Lynch. What is his first name?
What
is John Lynch? Right? Yeah, just those two as a duo. Yeah, no. Since then, but before that, no. So, okay, so Sega got you.
Well, real quick, I just want to answer Travis because he made a good point. That's why I connect so much with Peter Moore. If you do his history, he's all about how to attack as a challenger brand. So his DNA is all over that Genesis. I mean, that Sega era. It's just, I don't know. I've always liked that stuff. It's easy to like who's popular. It's easy to like the favorite and everyone's darling. You come with the upright and they win. Sweeter, baby, sweeter. So 16-bit era Sega. That was mine. Trav, what was yours for the next one?
I don't remember. Blade? No, I don't. I mean, look, I think Blade is sick as hell, but I'm not going to choose a licensed IP as my favorite thing. I just can't. I can't get
that's
there.
Big for you to choose it.
I'm
I
not
don't see you as the super. Oh,
but I mean, it's Arcane doing
so much. Blade is so cool, but I'm not going to choose it just because it's licensed and I'm paid.
Okay, well, we're talking about it anyway, so it's yours now. So this is just what we're doing.
It's yours now. You already do it.
You said it.
All right, yeah. Well, I mean, look, they didn't show anything, but that team is talented, and Blade was like my hero when I was a kid. I love Blade. Blade rules, dude. That 1998 movie?
Oh yeah. New Order Confusion, the opening of that.
I brought New Order Confusion. I was the only black man in the hood with techno in the block. I brought Confusion. That was the wildest club scene in movie history. He thought he was going for a party. The party was on him. I was like, this is the greatest movie ever.
Oh, and then he draws the line on, drawing the line on the ground with the sword. Well, so you've got that scene, and then also there's the scene towards the end where he finally drinks her blood to get powered up, and then takes the sword to chase all the way through the entire final compound to get to face Frost. That whole fight, he kicks the guy so hard he bounces up a stair. Trust me, I've watched both of those scenes way too many times. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah. Anyway, Blade is the coolest dude ever. So I'm very excited to see if they can pull it off.
Yes.
And they're a very talented team. Deathloop, Dishonored.
How do you feel about third person? They're kind of that's first attempt, but I
feel like for the swordplay you have to.
No, you have to.
I can't imagine Blade in first person.
Yes,
so
that
I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a ghost. That's a mature Ghost of Tsushima, but good sword fighting. Yeah, absolutely.
You think they do stealth with Arcane's DNA?
Yeah, they have to.
Yeah, they probably would.
My guess would be, well, Arcane's a very different studio now. People forget that they've had a ton of turnover, and they do different things now. But I kind of view third person games as being slightly easier to make. I'm not a developer, but that's just my impressions based on the perspective. And
I would believe that because Bungie has captured shooting very well. And it's hard for people to get it. If it was easy, a lot of people would make shooters that feel good. There's not a lot of them. A lot of people have made good action third-person games, so I would say none are easy to make. Like, we're happy we get any games that we get, but I think from what I've heard, whether it's... Because, I mean, you have... Where is the gun actually located? Because if you look at a first-person shooter from third person, the gun's all in the wrong place for the perspective, so I think you're right. That's probably fair.
Yeah. So I think if they can make masterpiece level shooters, they probably can make a pretty good third person game. And more importantly, I am always a fan of devs who are passionate about trying new things, not being forced to try new things like BioWare making Anthem, but when a team legitimately says, you know what, we've had this idea for a game that isn't the normal thing that we usually do, but we want to try it. That's how you get the Groundeds of the world.
Yes, I agree.
Which I think is Obsidian's best game at this point.
Yeah,
I love Grounded.
I love Grounded. Dinga was so excited, bro. He bust out a real high kick. I was like, excuse, all right, he's ready. He's ready. Yeah, I'm proud of him. What you got? What else you
got? It was pretty early in the show. I think it's called No Rest for the Wicked from the Ori team.
Oh, that game looked fire.
Yep. So
IGN got briefed on that one.
Oh, nice.
So we got to check it out. We have a preview on it and stuff.
Ori 1 and 2 are fantastic. I mean, the platforming in Ori is some of the best that you'll probably experience, especially in some of the, I'll call them an exit rush. I don't know exactly what to call that, but if I say that, you guys probably know what I mean. Certain situation where you have to go fast, and the precision that you get down to, it is a it is not a forgiving platforming game, but it is gorgeous. Both of the soundtracks on Ori are fantastic, and I cried in both of them.
I was like, that game didn't win anything. Like that game, man.
Yeah, Ori was underrated. Yeah, if you want to go have your butt kicked by a platform and then cry while you're playing it too, that is, they did some cool stuff there. So I know the studio itself has had some issues, I've heard, because Moon Studios, I've heard some issues.
Yeah, I heard.
So there's that unfortunate part by it, but No Rest for the Wicked, they went different art style. Kind of has a little more of the stylistic and isometric for a different view for them is different because it's not 2D. But it looks very cool, and early access is early next year. Why is Q1 so stacked? I'm going to mention one other one just because I'm talking about it being stacked.
Yes, please.
March 22nd. 2 games coming out. One of them's probably at least 100 hours. And the other one being as Neo 2 was at least 50 hours for me. You've got Rise of the Ronin and you've got Dragon's Dogma 2 on the same damn day.
Dragon's Dogma looked good.
Dragon's Dogma could be massive from my understanding of the first one. But Neo 2 was way bigger than I thought it was going to be. And that one, I mean, it took me a while, but that was like a 50-hour one for me. And if this one's open, I'm screwed. I'm in trouble. Like, this is a point where I can't play both again, and I'm really annoyed.
I would take Dragon's Dogma because I'm kind of over the
Souls,
Japanese mythology.
Yeah, they kind of.
I feel like we keep getting the Ghosts of Tsushima like every couple months. I'm just over it. So
it's an open one from Neo. I'll be curious, but again, also it is at Team Ninja. They make good combat games, but they don't always look graphically as high fidelity as some of the other ones. Even Liza P recently, man, Liza P got left out of the awards too, and that game was so fantastic. I was listening to the
I actually attempted it.
Oh, nice.
Great. Look, it's great. I reviewed it. I love it, but it should have been left out of the Game Awards.
Ooh.
There's just too many good games.
Well, I mean, that's fair. There's a lot of good games.
It's so many.
Nothing against them, but in a year where it was this packed, they don't even really make the list.
Yeah, this year was tough. It was tough.
There's no rooms for 8s when there's so many
9s and 10s
this year.
Good point.
But I will be curious. You said you tried it though?
Yeah.
It's on what, Game Pass now?
Yeah. Matt, what it is, Matty was so hard for it, and I'm like, you know what? I don't like Souls, but the way he described it, I was like, let me give it a shot. And I do like a lot of the systems, and I think for me, his movement. One thing about Souls, the plotting nature of Souls gets on my nerves. So the fact that you could run, dodge, the parry was cool.
It's fast. It's
the Pinocchio whole lore thing is cool. The enemies are cool. The sharpening of the sword thing. The fact that it's cinematic and trying to tell a story.
The end of that game sets something up that I would have never seen coming.
That's what he said. So he really really goes hard. And I
whatever
had to
they
give
do
it a
next,
shot.
I'm there. That kind of thing.
I beat the first Washington
You
thing,
did,
and
yes.
I'm done.
No,
I'm done.
Hey, you beat that guy. That's a starting skill check. Like that's
it's a skill check. My thing is, I just don't like to be angry at this.
I think he's talking about
age.
the clown though, right? Or that clown in the carnival, that first one.
Wait, did you do the one on the bridge or like the big arena?
No, we did the prologue clown and we were done.
Oh, you did the clown on the bridge. Oh,
you were thinking the police officer, and I was like, no way he goes that far.
I did the prologue clown. I was like, thank
did you see the police officer?
This dude played the game for 20 minutes tops. We know.
I played for an hour and said I did my part.
Okay. That was, I think, the thing about Lies of P that I did enjoy. Some of the boss fights absolutely whooped my ass, but I think while the in between level guys, there were some that were just absolutely beyond frustrating. Well, they were frustrating or easy. Like the Joker in the basement of like a later on area, that dude can just go kiss off, honestly. That dude sucked.
You're talking about the guy who
he's like down in a basement area.
You're talking about the jester dude who
he's awful.
Yeah.
Those couple guys are annoying, and then the low level guys weren't bad. But the major bosses, when I figured out the fight and then I really started to click with me, all of them are so fantastic. I mean, even the King of Puppets. I will say one thing. I was listening to the Defining Duke Ultimate about it.
They did the Ultimate on it. Yeah.
The two-phase thing, they did overuse that. But
that was in my review.
Yeah,
they was like, dude,
overused
because the problem with overusing the two-phase is that eventually you're just dying during the second phase, which means you have to keep repeating the first phase ad nauseum. And by the time you finally beat the second phase, you're just like, dude, just get rid of this first phase because it's just wasting like 3 minutes of my time.
It's fun to have a twist occasionally.
It's like having a 3-minute loading screen between each new attempt.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
not cool.
That's annoying. That can drag.
So
me. I think
that
the only thing I just want to comment before I'll give it back to you. Just that I do like the mechanic of, I believe what is blocking, and then it's almost chip, and you can kind of get energy back.
Yeah, it's like Bloodborne. Back. Yeah, you fight some.
Yeah, I did like that.
No, I will say their parry animation and sound effect, one of the best.
Yes,
it is very vibrant, very explosive when you parry.
I love
that. And I love the feedback on that versus when I went to go play Lords of the Fallen afterwards. Totally different games. And like Lords of the Fallen's a deeper RPG in builds, but just the feedback animation for Lies of P was really good. But Rise, like Dragon's Dogma has already been announced, but Rise of the Ronin I've been waiting for because I've enjoyed Neo 1, Neo 2, Wolong, like that's that whole team. And it's open world, so I'm very curious to see what they do with their kind of first open souls. So, but just the date is killing me.
Yeah.
Why everything is these middle of February and March is like just going to end me again.
Yeah, I'm screwed in January because I've got Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth and Tekken 8 literally a week of each other. I am like done.
All right, so what's your next one?
Oh, definitely for me. I've been very hard on them. But I have to say, they finally gave me my request, and it looked phenomenal. I Hellblade too. I really like that they finally showed me combat. That was I was like, please, I get it. We know you're the immersive psychosis, the voices. I love what they do. Graphically, it is this thing is
it's going to be gorgeous.
Realistic.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
gorgeous.
To me, it's just like, please show me any combat, any improvement there. I like the weaving mechanic. I like the visceral nature. You know, that's my main thing. Show me that you have taken some steps there, and that's it. We still got to see if it all comes together. But I love the original Hellblade. I thought it was a unique twist on psychosis and mental health. And if you play that game, I mean, you play that in Dolby Atmos or surround or whatever.
Just put a good set of headphones on. You'll have an experience.
Bro, her whispering and. It is just that. I think there was one thing where it's like complete darkness in one stage, and you have to listen for the voice to navigate where you go.
That's cool.
Just very unique ways.
I could definitely see them doing something like that. That's cool.
Yeah, Ninja Theory, I'm pulling for them. I hope they can put it all together. But graphically, you got one of the best looking things going, and I know the sound's gonna be great. So now I just need to know the combat. So and it looks like it's coming soon. I think we may get it maybe first half, maybe. Hopefully, we'll see.
It was 2024. That's it. I'm guessing that thing's
like they wouldn't have put the year if it was the first half.
Yeah, they had 2024. Nothing else. I still think that thing's going to be later.
Where it launches. Yeah,
I'm
if it's later
surprised how long this one's taking. I wonder if there's a scope creep happening because this is the first really big game they developed internally.
Travis, anything else? Shout out for
I'll
you.
choose 2 for my last 2. The first one is the Light No Fire game by the No Man's Sky team.
Yeah,
that game looked cool.
You got to chill with the promises, though. Don't get in
Well,
trouble
here's
like
the thing. Here's the thing. I was real tough on No Man's Sky when it came out because that game sucked. Like sucked. Like if I was reviewing that game, it would have got a 3 out of 10. Like it was bad, right?
You
But
can go to every planet there, and you can.
yeah, and it has multiplayer. And then the first day they tried it, and it didn't have multiplayer. That was crazy. I mean, like there were that game straight up like it was not at all what was promised when it came out. But here's the thing. I think the industry learned a lesson at that point in time, which is that if you get really small indie developers with a dream who are just talking about this thing they want to make, and then you give them a huge mic like Sony did, I think sometimes that is a mistake because, you know, people get wrapped up in stuff and get carried away. And I mean, you've even seen it happen to Peter Moore with his Fable claims and that.
You mean Molyneux? Get it right, Molyneux.
Sorry, we got Peter Molyneux, not Peter Moore. Sorry, it's because you were talking about Moore earlier. Yeah, no, Peter Molyneux, that infamous interview with him where he would not shut up and kept saying terrible.
Yo, remember when they had the little boy in the connect with Milo? He's a virtual.
Oh my god, dude! That I still have not had that fully explained to me to my satisfaction about what the F that was, except for that it must have been vaporware. But yeah, I have forgiven Sean Murray for that, and I think he gets it now. That what he didn't realize when he made No Man's Sky the first time is that he was developing a live service ongoing game, and I think now he gets that. And I also think the industry is much more accommodating to that model than it was when No Man's Sky came out. And so I just think we live in a different time, and I think Sean Murray and his studio and the things that they're good at, they're going to thrive in it, and that game looks great. And then the last one I want to give a shout out to is a game that I did advanced coverage for before it was announced at the Game Awards, which is the new heist game. Den of Wolves. Which I actually got to meet with the developers of that game, who they're currently finishing up their last game, GTFO, which is very good if you haven't played it. It's coming to console. They're trying to bring it to console after it's finished. So that one's really cool. But they are, as they put it, to quote them, back on that heist bullshit. Back on that heist shit, as they called it, because they have some former Payday devs. And so this game is takes place in a science fiction future where the real U.S. territory of Midway has been converted into a laissez-faire libertarian paradise bureau where corporations have autonomy and ability to push the limits on innovation at the cost of human suffering. And this has led to a revolution in biotechnology where people's brains are their own security devices, so that because they're more safe than computers. And that leads to a new generation of biohackers who hack into people's minds to steal their secrets. And so it's got kind of like a Inception, Psychonauts with a lot of like adult themes and violence and stuff. And it's also a heist game, so it's got some, sneaking into buildings, but then also hacking into people's subconsciouses, and it's kind of a trippy, cool idea for a game. It's still in pre-production, so it's not anywhere near being like a real game yet. But their team is extremely excited about it, and I'm inclined to be a little excited about it too. Looks cool.
Nice.
Wolves.
So Black Myth Wukong got a date. I was like, that game looks gorgeous, and it's
phenomenal.
Speaking of studios with problems.
Yeah, they're another one, unfortunately.
Theirs are real bad though. Like real bad. I don't know if you guys have seen those articles, but they're
Game Science. So game looks really cool. Every preview I've seen for that looks high fidelity and fantastic combat, but yes, unfortunately, hopefully the studio stuff gets fixed. But that got a date. The other one that's
which one we got?
It actually, speaking of kind of like Ori, it reminded me of the 2D kind of Ori. Yeah, it's the Tales of Kinzera Zao.
Kinzera, I
yeah,
knew you
that
was gonna say
one for me, because it had it looked
cool.
like the fire and ice kind of masks are the two that he has, and he's got the different abilities to bounce back and forth between. But it looked like a very legit 2D, and if it looks like it's got the heart and the story that kind of it has going in, which what he talked about on stage, that looks cool. Like that one will definitely be one I look forward to.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I like that. I'm pulling for them because generally sometimes those heartfelt stories don't necessarily translate to a good game. Sometimes the story of a studio and their journey, and you pull for them, but you're like, damn, I just hope the game's good. You know what I'm saying? And that looked good. I was like, okay, that has potential. So I'm pulling for. I think EA's helping them out.
Yeah, it's an EA original. I think. Yep.
Yeah, so I'm pulling for them. I'm gonna surprise y'all because I've slandered this man a lot, and he didn't show a game yet.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. Yeah. He showed facial animation.
I liked PT. I thought PT was really cool. I kept that on my PlayStation hard drive. And he came out the PT door. So to me, this is some form of it. We don't know what the hell it is. I don't know what Jordan Peele is doing. I don't know, but Kojima, I'm curious. You have my attention. I will say this. Even though I clown Death Stranding and it's still FedEx.
5 on it.
You got 5 on it. Even though it's FedEx simulated the game to me still. He was flirting in that game with these connective threads. And I have a feeling what as wacky as Kojima is, he's going to find a way to utilize cloud tech in this game in a unique way. And I'm curious to see what he does in conjunction with the PT thing. So OD, I do have my eye on it. And apparently it's the Avengers of who directors are supposed to be on. I want to see. You have my attention. I want to just know what it is. And one thing I will say, even if it's not good, it'll look fantastic. Kojima does push graphical fidelity a lot in his game, so that's. I'm curious now. I'm curious. So that's it. I'm surprised I'm saying this with Kojima, but yeah. What the hell is OD? I need to know.
Yeah, I can't get excited about that. I also liked PT, and I'm glad he's working on a successor to it. But between the lack of anything to show and the 9 minutes of waxing philosophic on stage, I
wasn't feeling how Jeff was beaming and how we wasted. Like, you notice there was no wrap it up sign. They just let him go.
That was I mean that everything that's wrong. I said this I think last week, but like I know last week we did the show before the Game Awards. I said this on Bitcast. I said on Bitcast that I would give it like a B- as a winter E3, but an absolute F as an award show. Like it's a terrible award show.
It's a terrible award show.
It just doesn't serve that purpose at all.
Correct.
And it's just weird that we spend so much time dealing with like Jeff Keighley's own personal idiosyncrasies of like liking the Muppets and like liking Hideo.
You didn't like that Gonzo was out there getting all that screen time?
Yeah, it should be called like Keighley, Keighley Hour or whatever. Like it's not what the name says it is at all, and that just really bothered me. It was a good show. It was a crappy award show, though.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, you are in 100% alignment.
Travis, you got any more?
Nah.
He said his last two.
So there's like the first Berserker Kazan. Looks like I never know what to call the art style, but it looks really, really cool action combat. Like over the top animations, big giant wind-ups and things look pretty cool. And then also kind of in the same realm as the Dead Cells guys, they did Windblown like very early on in the show. So there's a lot of action combat coming my way, and I'm pretty happy about that, I will say.
Nice.
Those were my last couple, I think, looking through some of the big ones. Exodus, though, I love Interstellar's a fantastic movie, and if they get into time, and if they can deliver on a really cool RPG from the BioWare guys and somehow pull something like that together, I'm really curious to see that one. That was your first one, and yeah, you stole one of my first ones because I mean that also feels like it could be a next gen, and I mean literally next gen, like 2028 PS6. It could be that far away. Who knows? But we'll see.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's most of what I got.
Yep, same similar lists. Scott's funny. Prescott.
Philip Carlisle in chat with the $5 super chat as well. He said, "Is Hellblade the answer to Alan Wake 2?" I don't know what you mean by an answer to.
Yeah.
I was like, I mean, it's not like it's. I mean, they can both be horror games, I guess, if that's what you mean. It's not like Xbox has to compete with Remedy, which is doing their own thing.
I look like Alan Wake 2 is what you call more investigative. What'd you consider it?
I mean, it's survival horror with
Survival horror?
Yeah, it's survival horror. I would more say Hellblade is action horror, kind of.
Yes,
kind of
action horror. Yeah,
a little different piece to it. I mean, it's going to be the fidelity on Alan Wake 2 was very, very good. And I think Hellblade will probably blow a lot of us away on how it looks. But as you said, the combat stuff, I am curious how all of that comes together. If it's how much freedom you have, if that makes sense. Because the first one was smaller arenas and puzzles, and I enjoyed the journey. It was like 1 8-hour stream, the whole, but it was kind of limited in how much choice you had and what you could do. You were kind of, so I will be curious how much they open it up. I think that's my biggest question about Hellblade, because a lot of what was there worked, but I also felt like you can't do just the sounds again and what they had again, even if it does look prettier, which it doesn't look like they will. But that's my biggest question, is how open it is, I think.
Yeah,
and it doesn't have to be open world. I don't mean it that way.
Open world. I don't mind if they stay hub based, but where I'm actually, my criticism of it, if I had to nitpick, was that they became too redundant with the symbol stuff. Remember with the puzzle symbols and so I just want some variants and some different things. And to your point, how they open it up, right? So yeah, that's my question to it. The P. Carlisle, salute.
But yeah, I mean, there was, as we said, the awards themselves, and that's why I shout out to Rebecca for getting all that stuff. I think on Twitter, Larian Studios did a bunch of stuff as well. Yeah, posting a lot of stuff from theirs. A lot of cool stuff was announced that I'm looking forward to. I mean, don't get me wrong, it was like a winter E3, and I'm pumped for a lot of it. But on the other side, of course, as well, yeah, there was 12 minutes in 3 hours that we got to hear from the people who made all the stuff, and not one mention, and this is where you have a big platform, but not one mention of the 10 or 11,000 people that lost their jobs in the industry this year, which is tough. Yeah. Somebody was saying this is the last TWAB of the year. Like, we're off for a month. So I thought there was going to be, if the quest is next, now I'm going to make sure I'm not crazy, but that quest is, I swear it was December 19th, because I think it was Riven's Lair. Yeah, available December 19th, Starcrossed. Stars will be your guide through the Dreaming City and beyond, and it looks like you're going into the Garden of Salvation, with finding something within the Black Garden. Then you got the Wishkeeper exotic bow. So that's next week. We don't even have a TWID after that. So this is, and they're back on the 19th, 18th. Like, we're a month. We get a full month till we get another TWID, TWAB, whatever it may be. Can you still get Vexcalibur? Yeah.
Yes.
I think that was this year, and that's still there. Yeah, if it's within a year, the exotic quest is there. Otherwise, now they're just tossing them into the rotators for the old stuff. Same thing will probably happen with Final Shape. Whatever this quest is, and then Vexcalibur, and I think that's probably it for this year.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know on anybody's travel schedule. We'll figure out what shows are coming up for us, if there's stuff to talk about. If not, and otherwise, we'll see how much of a break we take.
Yeah, because the next one is, when do you Christians do your stuff?
So it's on a Monday. It's on a Monday, so it's on the 25th on a Monday. So I mean, the 21st to the 28th are far enough that probably won't be an issue.
When do you infidels do that thing that you do?
Goys, you guys are goys, okay? But no, if I legitimately don't know what day Christmas is. I know it's near the end of December. That's it. So cool. Good.
Yeah. You'll just watch Twitter, watch our posts. You'll see when our next episode is. I mean, I'm not going anywhere far that matters. So, I mean, I'll be around and playing in other things. So for me, I'll be streaming or on Twitter or making videos, and you guys know where to find me. What about you, gents? Anything cooking, vacations, trips, or?
Yeah, just a little I was trying to spend more time with family, as you see. I put Mama Cog.
Oh, Mama Cog on there, yeah.
I said, the gaming community knows you as Mama Cog every time I tell a story about history. And she's like, really? And I'm like, watch. And I'll put the thing, and people are like, oh my God, that's whatever. Yeah. So I probably spend more time with that and family a little bit. And just decompress a little bit, rest a little bit. It's been a busy year, right? I feel for Travis. He never rests. I don't know what he's going to do with himself. What will he do with himself?
Yeah,
Is there
I don't know.
He's going to rest about? No, I've got
one more preview to do, and then after that, I'm going to make a short list of all the things I didn't get to play because I don't get to choose the games I play when I'm reviewing. And I'm going to catch up on some of those, but mostly I'll do other things. I'm going to do some writing, maybe do some comedy. I don't know.
We get on stage.
Yeah. I'm
getting back. I'm like, you going back to that.
Oh, I still do it sometimes. Like I did a roast like 6 months ago and stuff. So I'll do appearances. I just don't do it every week now. Like I used to do it like 3 times a week.
Pop into comedy selling. Trav might just
Yeah, Travis is going to give a speech at his wedding and is going to end up roasting everybody who's there, like his entire wedding party.
I am giving a speech at my own wedding, which you're not supposed to do, but I insisted, and I'm definitely going to roast my bride to be. I'm very excited about it.
Sorry about that one in advance.
Sorry, Mrs. Travis.
Sorry,
Come on, it's gonna be great.
You know who you married.
That's true.
Yep.
Yeah,
she'll get it back too. You guys have met her.
She'll fire back. She'll find a way.
Yeah. She's gonna destroy.
Yeah, perfect.
I'm very excited.
She'll just walk up there and say like 5 words and drop the mic, and it's over anyway.
She's seen my penis. She's got a lot of material to work with. I mean,
we made it.
My junk looks like.
Well, that's the end. That was the end of the episode. Chris.
What? Super chat.
Chris Sharp.
What happened?
Travis,
wow.
Travis, does having to review games mess with your enjoyment of playing games for fun? That's actually a fair question.
Oh, that's a good question. He wanted to know this answer. Please.
Hell no.
Seriously, thank you for the $100 super chat. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and all of the above. Seriously,
Chris Sharp, you are a legend as always.
Seriously,
but, the answer is hell no. I like reviewing games because I love playing games, and reviewing games feels like getting paid to do something that I would have done for free anyway. So. Yeah, sometimes when you play a bad game, it sucks as much as playing a bad game. If you, it's slightly less bad because at least you're getting paid
for playing something bad. That's fair.
So playing a bad game for free is worse than reviewing a bad game. But getting paid to play a game you love, or even a game that's just okay, right? Like a 7 out of 10 is time well spent. Getting paid to do it is great. Mm-hmm. So, I tend to critically evaluate games even when I'm not reviewing them because that's just how my brain works. I'm just a gripey, whiny dude, and so I enjoy it the same amount, and I would not keep doing it if I didn't love it because I'm certainly not doing it for the money.
I will say for me, sometimes it's hard to play something that I'm not going to make any content over.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm the opposite of both of you. That's so interesting.
Because for me, if I'm playing, there's always a little voice in the back of my head because this is what I do for a living now, that if I'm not doing something that is related to either at least streaming something, like if I just sit at home and play something quietly by myself, I'm not streaming, I'm not making content on something else, and I'm kind of giving up time. And that's why for me it is the streaming part of variety, and that's why I like Twitch is nice when I'm just like, I don't care how many viewers and stuff I have on Twitch. It's never been I'm never a streamer because when I do variety games on there, it's just fun to chat with people and then enjoy a game. And that's where when I play through an entire God of War, like Ragnarok, I played the whole thing on stream. Elden Ring, those things on stream. Those are fun because at least I'm streaming them. Those are my way to enjoy them. But there's certain times I can't justify something like Zelda because I would sit there and stare at something for an hour and I'm like, no one wants to watch this. So there's certain ones it's hard for me to even justify streaming. So there's those moments. I got the Steam Deck, which is nice though, because I've been hanging in the other room, like with the dogs and just kind of while my wife could go do other things, or if I'm just trying not to be in the office because they don't tend to all three come in here. So if I'm hanging out in the other room, I can work on more indies now, which is really nice. Like there's Trinity Fusion, which I think comes out tonight, if I remember. Has a really cool kind of 2D art style. Like I'm finishing Dave the Diver on the Steam Deck.
Nice.
I think that'll kind of be my indie device, and I'm probably gonna love it for that.
That's why I use my ROG. I got Cocoon done on that. And I didn't
you
get
beat
to
it?
talk to you about Cocoon.
Oh, so good.
It was because you inspired me. I was like,
Oh.
it's good. I'm gonna say something controversial though. First, the game is amazing. It's tough with these puzzles, bro.
No, dude, I described it as
the cheat like 1 or 2. I was like, bro, I can't. This is deep level Inception.
I loved it. It was like 4D chess. It was great,
bro. I was getting stumped on a couple. I was embarrassed. I'm like, damn.
When you get to the end, you got to go 4D chess on it. But I love it. Was 4 to 5 hours. Like it was the perfect size, and that was why for me that was almost one of my masterpieces for the year. I don't know if it's my game of the year. Alan Wake still might be, but just they didn't take it too far,
right?
Because if they tried to add more to it and stuff, it could have been too much. It was just 4 to 5 hours of it was great,
really cool.
And those moments when you start to go between, when you have kind of the first inter-level moment is one of the best ways I can say it. One of those where you're like,
when he flew to the screen and out of it, I said, oh no, it's this type of level of complexity we're doing here. So I was very impressed with that. Because did you play or beat Somerville?
No, I need to.
Oh, now I'm putting it back on you.
I know. That's on me.
Those two kind of split.
Because how long is that one? It's about the same length. It's not that long. I need to beat that before the end of the year.
I want them back together. It's like mom and dad split up. And they need to get back together, because this is why, even though Cocoon is the better game, because Somerville probably there's some technical issues with the foreground and the background stuff.
You're like, it's art versus level design, and you want them back, right?
Because I need someone to talk to about the ending. And they do something on a human and emotional level that I like, and you've got things you
in Somerville,
yes,
and that's what I'm gonna get to. Okay,
get on some of it, please.
I can knock that out. Bro. I can do that.
Knock that out.
That'd be a good day stream or something like that. Yeah, I can do that.
And it's you, the wife, and the dog. Like I'm like, this is.
I know. Yeah, I need to. That's been sitting there, and that's not that long. Sea of Stars is like 30 hours. That I still really, really want to play, but Somerville I just need to knock out because it's those two. Yeah.
Yes. And your boy, Trav, I think Ryan is the one that reviewed Somerville. I watched his review.
I think he reviews all those games because he gave Inside a 10 out of 10.
Yeah. We share, me and him share very artsy fartsy similarity games.
This is probably just me just speaking out of turn, because I don't know. Ryan and I are friends, but we're not that type. But I think it's just that he's a dad and he loves bite-sized games.
Yes.
A game could be
when you get older, you appreciate the hell out of it.
So I think he just likes anything he can play and just like enjoy it in one sitting. And I definitely understand that, especially after reviewing long games. I kind of just want something to play for just
refreshing. It's such a palate cleanse. Yeah, you're totally right about that in his choices, I think.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, you're the one who's been on his podcast, you son of a bitch.
I mean, I met this awesome guy, and before that, on that podcast, the Reigning Destiny podcast. Before that, was a really cool guy.
Don't talk about Destin like that, bro.
I was like,
you talking about Paul Tasty, bro? I get it, dude.
Feisty guy. He's spoke out. I was like, I've never seen him. I like this Travis dude. He's feisty as hell. He about to smoke.
I was less feisty on that show.
No, you still brought it though. You still brought it. You still gave him. You gave him bars. I remember. I was like,
easy. Like, can you think of two people who are wrong more often than Paul Tasty and Destin Legary, dude? That's like,
shots.
It was nice having you on the show, Paul. We'll never ever see you again.
My introduction to Try Guy Travis.
Paul's my homie, and he knows I stand up for him. He's been in the industry a long time. Some people don't like him, and I always stick up for him.
Oh, I always stick up for Tasty. Even when we disagree, always stick up for him.
Paul's a great guy. He's a good personality to have in the space. He just has bad takes. Like, he thinks crafting is bad, and I'm like, bro.
Shout out to Tasty.
Come on.
Yeah.
Well, on that bombshell, I think this is a perfect place to wrap it up. One of these next couple of weeks, we'll probably have a show. Just hanging out. I don't know if you guys want to do something like our games of the year. I know we've talked about a lot, but we could do our kind of just discussion of stuff. We'll figure it out but we will have the exotic quest to talk about too coming up. So we'll have some things. We'll figure out when that will be, and then yeah, it's going to be daunting for a little bit, the exotic quest, and we know Destiny is going to be a little quiet outside of the weekly story, so we'll have to figure out our timing, but I also know you enjoy hanging out with you two gentlemen, so it's kind of hard to call it off for too long, so we'll figure that one out. But for this episode, it's a little extra long, little bonus episode for you guys. And Christopher Sharp, just I think he's our CFO now, so he's just, he's on the board of directors at least.
Thank you.
Y'all have a great night. Appreciate the content. We appreciate the extreme generosity. Thank you so very much.
Much love. Thank y'all for rocking with us too, man.
Yeah,
Chris Sharp, hero.
I mean, we're episode 276. I mean, we're gonna hit 300 in 2024. That's gonna be that's gonna be something. So when we hit 301, that'll be a new record for our tie guy man here. So
yeah.
We actually got to hit 302 because we can't do like 30. We have to at least hit 302 because 301 would just be weird and be like, all right, I had to just do 301 and leave. We got to hit 302, so it's not just this thing. We got to do at least a few more. I'm only going to keep these two before they get too popular, too busy doing 20 reviews and ILP and all this craziness.
Only 20?
You're going to go for 30. You're going to be like, okay, so like my wife loves to read. And she goes through a lot of books. She's a pretty fast reader. And depending on life and playing with the dogs and working out and everything else, she still reads a pretty good amount of books. And she had her goal for like 75 books this year or 60 or something like that. And she's approaching 100 this year. So she's blowing the doors off of her goal. And I feel like Travis is the same way. He's going to do 25, 26 next year. He's like, all right, somehow I got to get like 30 reviews in. And I know you're just going to go for...
I could have done it this year, but I took a couple reviews that took a month, and that always screws me over.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you go for hours of reviews, you probably have an easy record this year that you'll may never get back to because Hogwarts was huge. Diablo was massive. You had some... Starfield was massive. You had some of the biggest games of the year and still got 26 of them. So you're a crazy man, sir. So
and I didn't even review Starfield, actually. That one doesn't even count in my 26. I just made
but
guides
you still had to do
I did play
guides
200 hours.
Which to me is harder for it because of the amount of time you had to invest. To get those guys. That's intense.
Yeah, Cog and I are just like amateur casuals over here next to Travis. We just appreciate there's one professional on the show, and we're just glad we have one at least.
True. You guys are both professionals. You just don't write reviews. Although I don't know if you guys saw this. Ains announced that his site did 50 reviews this year.
Awesome.
And I was like, great. I did 26 by myself.
That's when you just make everybody feel bad and be like, oh, by the way, I did more than half your site on my own. How many people on your team? All right.
But to be fair, he's using unpaid labor, so it's impressive he got any reviews.
He got 50 volunteers.
I know that life. It's hard.
You know that life well. It's real. You're basically asking will you please review?
Bro, it's literally that. Yeah.
If you can get around to it, baby.
That's so true. Literally, that's so true.
Yeah, well, if you guys, I used to write for one of those. I wrote for free for 8 years before I got paid to do it.
Wow, I didn't do that.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, if you guys somehow made it this far into the podcast and you're still here and I haven't been demonetized yet, and all of these things seem to have happened, please on Spotify or iTunes, if you listen to audio, or if you haven't done it yet, just go in there, drop us a review, 5 stars, however you can. Just helps more people find the show, which is always a good thing going into a new year. I think I tried to wrap this episode about half an hour ago, and we are now a little beyond that. So for episode number 276, happy December 4th to everybody, December 14th to everybody, and for this episode, it has been
the last
word.